the Cycle 365 will no longer be bringing you content. All operations will be go into effect immediately, and all operations will be canceled. Just kidding! Welcome to the Cycle 365 episode 27.
27.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Jesse Booten.
And I'm Cody Stauffer. We'll be hearing from Simon later.
Yeah, we will. So anyways, Cody, what are we going to talk about today?
So, we're going to talk about the NCAA eligibility ruling. Followed by that, we're going to give our thoughts on the CBA for the NFL, since we never talked about that. Followed up with free agency talk. Then, as a little special for the month of April and April Fools, we're going to talk about intramural stories from the past 3 years, including the most ridiculous ones. And to end the show, stick around, because we got a special surprise for you listeners. So,
yep. Yeah. So, anyways, Cody, tell us about the NCAA and how they have extended the spring athletes' eligibility by 1 year.
I mean, that's the biggest point, is that it's spring athletes. They're not extending winter athletes, so that includes basketball. So all of the seniors, or the seniors who would have played in conference tournaments or maybe even the NCAA tournament, won't be playing another college basketball game.
That is sad, because we wanted to see Jonah Radabaugh play for the UNC Bears in the tournament.
And the Bears really had a good chance of going to the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. However,
let's focus on the spring athletes.
So the spring being track and field, baseball, softball. I can't think of any other spring sports.
Well, those are the ones that really matter. So
those are the big ones. So, however, I'd say that baseball is kind of weird anyway, just with the way that the farm system works.
In the pros, you mean?
Yeah, and just like going between minors and college level, like a lot of those players might just go on to play minor league ball, honestly.
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, well, I mean, most seniors will probably just go play in the minor leagues. But I think it'll be interesting to see the dynamic outside of baseball. Besides, like I said, baseball is the special exception, but outside of that, to see what happens with like track and field and softball. It's to see like what are they going to do with these, I guess you could say quote unquote now super seniors that are going to be on these rosters. Like, are they going to be in school? Like, don't you have to be NCAA eligible? You have to be a full-time student of that school to play. So if these athletes are graduated, are they going to waive it for this 1 year? If you have graduated, you don't have to be in school to play as a senior. It's just going to be interesting to see how that all works out.
One of the things from the NCAA is that there's significantly less relief or aid. So if the players come back, they'll be coming back and paying for participation, basically, which is kind of weird because it creates like a club sport dynamic almost, just at the Division I level.
Yeah. It's also going to be interesting to see how now you're not going to only have, like, obviously a baseball team and a softball team only have around 25 people on the team, right? So how are you going to fill that spot, considering what if you have a really good incoming freshman, but you also have a really good super senior? Who are you going to give that roster position to, you know? It's going to be interesting to have not only 4 to maybe 5 different grades going onto a roster, but now you're going to have possibly 6. So like that's just a lot of people to try to figure out how to put a roster together, because like I said, without football, like besides football, all the other sports really are pretty limited in roster spots. So it'll be, well, maybe with the exception of track and field, but it'll be interesting to see how these coaches and how these schools really just get around the fact that there's going to be so many athletes that want to play on their team.
True. And another point to bring up, too, is with the NCAA tournament having been canceled and all the conference tournaments canceled, there's already been cuts to already been cuts to budgeting for NCAA schools and Division I schools. So there's less money this year.
And more people.
And this upcoming year, and more people. And plus, you also have to think about, like, the coaches who, you know, they have a senior that they really care about, or, like, a good senior who can play at a high level, but they also have a freshman coming in who's promised playing time. That's the reason that a commitment happened.
Yeah.
So I wonder how this is going to impact commitments and change of commitments, honestly, for spring athletes. And that's on all levels, too, with softball and with track and field. Like, it's a cool idea that the NCAA wants to give these seniors another chance to play. At the same time, I feel like a lot more waves being caused by it than they thought was going to happen. Like, they don't know the full scale of the implications yet.
Just to circle back real fast, you said about money being cut, basically. I mean, overall, really, there's only a handful of NCAA programs that even bring money in, with teams like Alabama, Texas A&M, Ohio State, teams like that. But we may see none this next year bringing money in. Those three might. Their funds have been cut. Their funding has been cut, and who knows? Maybe they won't even bring anything in this year. So that'll be interesting to see. But then also to your point of people going, like a bunch of people on a team, like we said. And commitment-wise, I do think that with again, talking about baseball is a little bit different, but the MLB draft is in June, so that's in, 2 months? I do think that we will see a lot more younger high school players or college players sign with professional league teams. Because normally you have, because there's like 38 rounds, I think, in an MLB draft, something around there, 40 rounds. If you're in the top 20 usually, so if you top half, you usually sign with that team because it means they have a pretty good chance of making it to the big leagues. But if you're under that, usually players will not sign the contract even if they got drafted and go play college baseball. But I think with the fact that there's going to be extra seniors there, I do think now that more kids in that bottom half of the draft will sign with their major league team, which would just be interesting to see because that's just going to be a lot more young guys in the league that are I would say not developed well enough yet, and we'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, and that's going to create a bigger source of competition in the minor leagues, which is already a hard place to compete, given, just like the conditions that they have to play in is not always up to par.
Yeah, they're not flying on planes anywhere. They're riding in buses to their away games,
or they're driving in their own cars, and they get traded all the time. So, just the influx of players in that facet would be really interesting.
Yep.
And then another thing to think about is, like, track and field sightings are a big deal for a lot of schools. And I know that a lot of athletes rely on that. And so part of me thinks that what if schools rescind their offers? Because a school can do that. And I know someone who it happened to where they had like an offer to play somewhere and then the school just said, never mind, because of talent coming from other places. Right?
Yep.
And another thing to consider is also like the transfer rules of the NCAA. Like, how does this impact that? Like, people who were transferring who had to wait a year to play, like, do they get an extra year after that too? If they were like a transfer redshirt junior or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
The one sport we forgot about for spring is tennis, and that's big time. So like tennis is a big sport, and again that's that small roster size. Maybe 5 or 6 people on a roster that are going to compete at a high level in Division I.
Yeah, so like, I know that the UNC roster has less than 20. Yeah,
but like I said, the 6 of them are going to be actually playing at the high level. So like it'll be interesting to see that. I guess it could also affect the Olympics. We'll go into this too because like there's some smaller other things I'm just reading here about other things. Obviously we got the big ones, but ones like lacrosse is in the spring, rowing, and beach volleyball. So
those are all Olympic sports.
I know they're all Olympic sports. So I don't know about lacrosse, but But like rowing is an Olympic sport, and so is beach volleyball, and so is water polo. So like, obviously we know that the Olympics have been changed to 2021, but that's also is it the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics?
Summer.
So summer, yeah. So these will be being played next year. But what does this extra year of eligibility do for those people that were going to play or be in the Olympics next year? Like, I don't know if you're, like, again, going back to the NCAA, if you go to the Olympics, I don't know if you can go back to NCAA. You know, so they'll have one more year, so they have to make a decision if they want to go to the Olympics or compete in their last year of college.
Yeah, and that also impacts the competition too, though, because, I mean, when you're an Olympic athlete, you are fighting to keep your spot. You know, a lot of people don't realize that Michael Phelps is in the minority of players or athletes who get to compete at basically every Olympics for multiple years. I mean, there is one swimmer out of Colorado, I don't know if you remember, Jesse, but Missy Franklin.
I remember her, don't worry.
She won gold,
yeah,
and then she just wasn't even at the next Olympics.
Yeah.
Or if she was, she didn't win any medals, and she won't be at the next Olympics now.
Yeah.
So, you know, certain athletes, this was like a huge break for them, but now, with another year, new people may become eligible, right?
Yep.
To compete in the Olympics, and if these younger athletes are better, then some of these older athletes might lose their chance to compete for their country.
Yep. It's just a big issue. But before we go on, I want to just tell you a funny story about Missy Franklin. Okay.
Okay.
So I knew one of my friends knew this guy who went to Valor Christian, was on the baseball team, right? Missy Franklin, obviously everyone knows who she is. She was going to go to prom with this dude from Valor Christian, right? And so my friend's friend was at the game, and he was watching, and he was the pitcher, the pitcher for Valor Christian. I don't remember his name, but he was planning on pitching the game and then asking her to prom right after the game. But he took a line drive straight to the face and had a gigantic swollen black eye and broke his orbital bones, so he couldn't ask her to prom that night.
Oh my gosh, rip.
Yeah.
Missy Franklin visited my middle school, like, it was the year right after she won gold at the Olympics. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it was like a bunch of piranhas. They were just swarming her. They're like, sign this, sign my phone.
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh my gosh. Maybe that's why she didn't want to compete in the Olympics again.
Yeah.
Because Newton Middle School was going dumbo.
Yeah. So, anything else you got for?
I mean,
Spring
it's just
eligibility.
breaking news.
It is. From saying spring eligibility, you think there's anything else we really need to cover there?
I don't believe so. I believe we've talked about all the big things that we need to think about. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal,
is.
and
We'll see how it works out for these schools.
yeah, and it's going to be really different for also the basketball players too, the seniors.
Oh yeah.
So,
Staying on kind of on that same topic, we can talk about the new CBA that has been signed in the NFL and what it means for football and NFL players, and what for you as fans should expect going into the 2020 season.
yeah. First things first about this, the players, the new CBA was passed with a vote of 51.5% yes. So there was less than 100 votes of difference. There was only a 50 or 60 vote difference between yes or no from the players that ultimately passed the new CBA.
Yep. So let's enlighten our listeners just on what's going to come of the NFL, or what changes we're going to see in the NFL because of the CBA. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the bigger ones is that not this season, but next season in 2021, the regular season will be 17 games long.
Yes. Now, if you're not aware, there's 17 weeks currently, but that's with a bye week, so you only play 16 games. But now they're going to play an extra game in the regular season.
And there is 3 preseason games.
There's only 3 preseason games, so they lost the preseason game.
Which is, I mean, nobody watches the preseason games anyway. I feel like 4 was one too many.
Yeah.
Because now you can use one to see who makes the team, basically. with all the backup guys, and then like huge cuts after that game, and then you can use games 2 and 3 to figure out starter positions.
Yep.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be happy as a coach because I feel like preseason games are usually a waste of time.
Yeah.
And from a coach's perspective, I think it's got to be frustrating. And I know coaches in the past have said 4 is too many preseason games.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, I feel like the preseason games were going to go down.
Yeah, I definitely think that three preseason games is exactly what's needed. I think that was a big plus because then we're not going to see as many injuries in the preseason. And yeah, like Cody said, you can have one game to evaluate your younger talent, who's going to make the team or not. You can have one game to get your starters ready, and then one game to work on concepts and stuff like that. So like, I think definitely three is the right number. But again, like we said, we're adding that first preseason game on now to the regular season where you're going to play an extra regular season game. So
yeah, and I'm curious to see how they're going to format that because so the way that you play games, if you don't know how an NFL schedule is built, is you face one division from the AFC
or NFC, opposite conference.
Well, you face one whole division from the AFC, one whole division from the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
You play your rivals. You play your division twice, and then you play the teams that place the same as you did in your own division.
In the other two
divisions
in your conference, yeah.
Yeah, in your conference. So I don't know where that other game's going to come from. Maybe you'll face somebody who's the same place as you were in your division from the other conference.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. I don't know how they're going to decide how to do that. So
I think I could think of is like, so it's really, really rare. I see we'll just take the Broncos for example because I know them pretty well. The Broncos are usually always playing either the North, East, or the South from the NFC. I don't know why they don't play the West that much, but maybe it could be teams out of the West.
So just like the same division across?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have that extra one.
Well, I mean, it cycles through every 4 years, so it's usually just a really long time between divisions in the NFC because you face 4 from the other conference, but only 3 from your conference.
Yeah.
So, but I like that idea of just using...
Yeah. So for the Broncos, you either play someone from the NFC. So you play the Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, or Cardinals.
I think that'd be great for more across-conference competition.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of rivalries across conferences.
And I also feel like, obviously, they're put into regions for a reason. Like, it'd be more regional play. Like, we want to see more games of the Broncos versus the Cardinals. Like,
and the broadcast would make more sense, too.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So just, and like, people in Seattle want to see the Seahawks play Denver. Like, could be a big game.
Yeah.
And within the same area. So, I think that could be good. But we'll see how it happens.
Yeah, true.
Okay, what else we got in the CBA?
So, the biggest thing that's happening this season is the playoffs are going from 12 teams to 14 teams.
So there's going to be 2 extra teams.
7 from each conference, and only 1 team gets a bye week now.
Yep. The number 1 team.
The number 1 seed gets
in
a
the
bye
conference,
week.
yep.
And then the other 6 teams play in the first round.
Yep.
And there are 3 wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see how this could be advocated for because there's arguably been some pretty good teams who've missed out on the playoffs just due to the division winning kind of aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's definitely what happened. Jesse, what do you think of like the race for the number 1 seed?
Well, I think it obviously makes the race for number 1 seed much more important. You know how like we see it a lot, like a week 17 game when there's a team that's already locked into the number 2 seed and they don't play any of their starters because they don't want to get hurt because they already have locked into that number 2 seed and that bye. But now they're gonna have to play, so we will probably see more starters play throughout the whole season. And with an extra game scheduled, it's going to be interesting to see how those players can withstand in the regular season for that long. Going into the playoffs again, obviously, now you're not getting that extra week if you're a number 2 seed. If you're not getting that extra week. So yeah, the taxing on the body is going to be interesting to see. And the race for the number 1 seed will be really important because everyone wants that extra bye.
And just for context, the teams that would have made it last year with this same format would have been the Steelers as the 7th seed, in the AFC, and it would have been the Bears as the 7th seed in the NFC.
I'm going to be honest, this year might not have been the best.
No, it's not a good example, but that's what would have happened.
Yeah.
And you would have had a matchup of the Steelers versus the Chiefs in the first round.
Yep.
And then you would have had a Bears versus Packers game, which could have been good.
It would have been really good. Because it'd been crazy.
Because it would have been another divisional game.
Yep.
So, not the best teams to use for an example, but another team that could have made it, just depending, would have been the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, that's like the biggest difference.
There also is some player money contract differences. What are those?
So, one of them is that players will now get 48% of revenue instead of, I believe they were at 46, or maybe even 47, and it might even increase to 49% by the end of the decade, depending on how much money. So yeah, it was 47%, but it might increase to 48.5% in the next 10 years.
For our listeners, when we're talking about a 1 to 1.5% difference in revenue for the NFL, that is a lot of money.
Yeah, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That the NFL makes.
Yeah.
Well, the NFL makes billions.
Yeah.
So 1% of $1 billion is more money than I have.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
So.
Yep, and then I think there's one more thing, right? The league minimum has been upped as well.
Well, so there's a $100,000 increase for rookie minimums, and then another $50,000 increase in 2021, and then a $45,000 increase each year after that. So, you're going to have a couple $100,000 worth of increases for rookie contracts. You're going to have a couple $100,000 for minimum salary contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're also going to have raises for practice squad players, and performance-based pay is also increased. And the fines are also going down too.
So just a lot more money.
Yeah, more money everywhere.
Yeah. All right, so I think going into this, we should go into this a little bit differently. Cody, first of all, I just want to say, if you were a player, would you have voted yes or no on this?
I would have voted yes.
Me too. I would have 100% voted yes as well.
Just because, more money,
mm-hmm.
and more guaranteed money at that too.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest problems with the NFL compared to other sports is the guaranteed money, just because of how taxing it is on the body.
Yeah. Like, a great example is baseball. Baseball players sign these massive contracts for like 6 years, $55 million or whatever, and really, to be honest, they're guaranteed at least over $200 million of that, right? But baseball is way less taxing on the body than football, so I think that this was a good step towards
closing the gap to other sports, baseball and basketball, where contracts are fully guaranteed in basketball.
Yeah. I was thinking more of like taking the next steps to taking care of their players better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also, just to hit on some of the other things before we start talking about the implications for the players, is there's less marijuana testing, just because we've seen more states legalize it, including Colorado. And rookie players who outplay their contracts will get paid more. So, for example, because Jalen Ramsey's a 3-time Pro Bowl player, if they tried to franchise tag him, he gets an extra $1 million on his franchise tag for every Pro Bowl that he's made. So superstars will make more money and not get taken advantage of with fifth-year options, basically, that are way underpaying them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more incentive-based. Also, the roster size has increased to 55 total players, and there's more practice squad spots too.
Nice.
So if I'm a player, I'm definitely voting for this,
mm-hmm.
because more roster spots means higher job security. More guaranteed money means that even if they do cut you and you have guaranteed money in your contract, you're going to get paid more anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The minimum going up means that you're going to make more money. So, and even from a superstar perspective, especially young superstars like Jalen Ramsey or Patrick Mahomes,
yeah.
I would vote for this because, outplaying your rookie contract is I mean, I know a lot of players definitely get underpaid when the fifth-year option's picked up.
Oh, yeah. Well, a great example of that, I was literally just about to bring up that example once you were done with this. It's like the example of Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Kansas City's going to pick up his option at the end of his rookie contract. But if this didn't happen, if it was back, obviously, well, this past year and then years past, the previous CBA was...
Like Von Miller.
Yeah. Basically, Patrick Mahomes would get his club option or his team option picked up at the end of his contract and maybe make another, $5 million maybe, when obviously he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's been to the Pro Bowl how many times?
MVP of the league.
Yeah. So where he should be getting paid at least $12 million a year. At least triple what he would get if he got his club option picked up.
Yeah. And we're going to see this impact Lamar Jackson coming up. I mean, there's a bunch of young quarterbacks in the league who this is going to impact.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of contracts coming up too.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah,
that's huge for all the young players.
You're right.
You and I were talking a bit about this yesterday, and we were saying that, one of the more vocal players against it was Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he has to play more games.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. I was going to open that up question to you too now. So now that we've looked at all the positive sides, tell us about, because again, it was a very close split.
Yeah.
So that means that a lot of people did vote no on it. Go ahead and tell us what you think about why those people would have said no and how that affects them.
I mean, it's older players because they have to play more games.
Tom Brady,
Aaron Rodgers, and this doesn't even include the offensive linemen that definitely, I mean, offensive linemen go through more wear and tear. Like, linemen specifically, running backs and linebackers are probably the most taxing positions on the football field just because they have contact on every single play.
Yep.
A quarterback doesn't have contact on every single play. Wide receiver doesn't have contact on every single play. Same with the secondary. So players like that, like running backs especially, an extra game a year might slowly turn into one less year in their career, where they're going to end up making less money.
A great example would be Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry had to play an extra game every year, it probably does take out a year of his career.
Yeah, especially with the workload that he's looking at, and I mean, it wasn't unanimous for the owners either, because they probably want, as far as player friendly owners that listen to their players, and if the majority of players on a team were no, and we're already seeing early retirements from Andrew Luck and Luke Kuechly, so how many more players are going to retire early?
Also with that, I can see why owners wouldn't like it, and the fact that with 16 games, you can split it half and half, home and away, but now with 17 games, one team is going to get an extra home game, and one's going to have to play another road game.
Yeah, and another thing for owners is that might mean more games in London.
Yeah.
And I know that most teams hate playing in London.
Except for Jacksonville.
Well, they might move there anyway.
Yeah.
Someday. But, yeah, literally every other team hates the time zone change and flying overseas for a game. That's a big deal. And there's going to be more of those games just because there's more games in the season.
Yeah. As a fan, we don't like it either because I don't want to get up at 7:30 a.m. to watch a football game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the previous Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely some drawbacks to it as far as just durability goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we've talked about it before on the show too, just there's more research coming out about how devastating concussions and injuries are.
Yeah, just the wear and tear on your body.
So, but I mean, I don't have really anything else to talk about. I think overall, and I'll want to hear from you after this, I think overall it's positive, but of course I am a fan who gets to watch an extra 2 games this year. One being a playoff game and one being a regular season game.
Yeah. I still think it's more positives than negatives. Obviously, a guy like Aaron Rodgers is still going to play that 17th game, and he's going to be fine. So, it's not that big of a deal. And it's only one extra game. But I do think that this was a positive for the players in the NFL. And I think that moving forward, it'll help them out.
I think this is a step towards 50-50 revenue split.
Yeah.
if the NFL makes enough money, which they're going to make so much more money with one extra game a week.
You're right.
Especially, like, their deal with Dish is ending soon. So they got it done just in time to rehash some new broadcast deals that are going to be worth a lot of money. Through the roof with money. And we might see the revenue split, but it's going to be at least 48.5 to 51.5 or whatever. But yeah, 51.5 by the end of the decade.
Mm-hmm.
So the next CBA, because the CBAs are always like 10 years at a time.
Yeah.
It might be 49.5 or 50-50.
Yeah. I also want to say one thing about this year that could make impact is obviously you said with the extra game coming this year. Well, I guess the 2021 season is when it goes into effect, the 17 games.
It's the regular season, but we still get 2 extra games because of playoffs.
Yeah, this year. And with the whole situation that the world is in right now with no sports in general, and as of right now, the only one that is guaranteed to be there is football. So like
just because it's in fall.
Yeah, like Commissioner Roger Goodell has said that we plan to start everything on time and everything. Like they're still gonna have the draft in the same time. Like training camps will still start on time. Like everything's gonna be on time, and that's the only stuff that we have set in stone as a sports fan and as sports people. And the fact that like if like the NHL and the NBA don't even come back on, they just might say, hey, we're just gonna end it for the year. All the sports fans are gonna be so hungry for sports, like live sports, that everyone's probably going to watch that first preseason game if they still have a Hall of Fame game. But everyone's going to be watching it because it's like this is the first live sports we've seen in 6 months.
Yeah.
So like,
true.
It's going to be big. Lots of money.
Could be good for the NFL and it's good for the players. I think that does it for this segment.
Yeah.
Coming up next, who are the best free agents and why aren't they signed?
And where are they going?
Coming up next.
Fight me. It's pretty selfish to let go.
We're back on the Cycle 365, episode 27. I'm here with Jesse, and I'm Cody. We're talking about the best remaining free agents
in the NFL
right now, as of April 2nd.
April 2nd.
We got you with the April Fool's joke, but joke's on us. We're actually recording this a little late.
Yep, but that's right. All right, so we're going to go through these top free agents that are still on the market and say why they might still be a free agent and where we think they could best fit.
Yep.
In the NFL.
So, Jesse, who do we got first?
We have Jameis Winston first.
Famous Jameis. Famous for all the wrong reasons.
He threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. He famously said, if you take away my interceptions, I'm the best quarterback in the league. And he is 100% correct.
He's right.
He has the most passing yards and the most touchdowns in the NFL. But he also has 3 times as many interceptions as any other quarterback.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. And his decision, keep in mind, he had LASIK eye surgery this offseason, so maybe he just literally couldn't see the difference between his team and the other team,
maybe.
Even if they were wearing completely different colors.
Yeah. Let's also, I'm talking to my girlfriend's dad, and he did say, if you really think about it, I would say 50% of his interceptions were also on opening drives. So, like, they were behind before they even could get started, you know? Like, they would receive the ball, or they would receive the kickoff, and then he would throw an interception.
Yeah.
And then the other team would go score. So they're always down, but somehow he still brought them back. So, like,
I mean, they finished the season 7-9.
I know, so he still could figure out how to win. But anyways, let's talk about, obviously, I think we've talked about a little bit why he's still
We
on the
said
market.
why he's a free agent.
Decision making, just decision making, really.
Yeah, because I don't really think there's no more character questions, really.
No,
I mean, he grew up,
Yeah.
and he's like a fine guy, you know,
Mhm.
and he's hungry too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, he's trying to get on a team. He pushed an SUV up a hill
Yeah.
just to show that he could.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he definitely has the drive to want to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I think another reason people are scared off, though, is because Bruce Arians is like the quarterback whisperer.
He couldn't get it
And
done.
he couldn't get Jameis Winston to stop throwing interceptions, so who could help out Jameis Winston, or who can Jameis Winston help out?
Yeah. All right. Well, we have dogged on a little bit with the the turnovers, and that's obviously a big reason why he's not there. But I wanted to say before we start picking where he could go, some things about him that are good. I mean, he's a pretty mobile quarterback, athletic guy. He can really move in the pocket and throw on the run really well.
He has a cannon of an arm, too.
So
he has one of the best arms in the league as far as just strength goes.
Yeah, so I mean, like, he still has some very, very usable talents, and I think he's still a starting quarterback in the NFL. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to have a starting position.
I don't think he'll have a starting job, but where could you see him going where he could either be a
Yes.
backup or compete for a starting job?
I'll start with one. We'll just do one each. I'm going to start with Jacksonville. I think he'd go into Jacksonville, push Gardner Minshew, and possibly take that job from him.
I agree that, and I see that angle, and they're definitely a team that's without an identity, and they could be cheap on that aspect.
Yeah.
So for my team, I'm going to talk about the New England Patriots because Josh McDaniels is still the OC there, and I think if any program can whip him into decision-making shape,
It would be them.
it would be them just because of how rigid they are. And they do not have a quarterback on the roster right now to start day one. And
unless you're going to roll with
can't even remember his name.
I know it's just right there. Brian Hoyer. Unless you're going to roll with Brian Hoyer, they're not.
If Brian Hoyer starts for the New England Patriots, they're going to go 5-11.
Yeah.
And then if he's still there next year, they're going to go 5-12 because there's an extra game for him to lose.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good place for him too. I'm going to say one more team just because I thought about him. It would be interesting to see that. It's probably not going to happen, but Pittsburgh Steelers. It could work out there. That's a place where he could go in and be a backup and push the starters. At the moment, Ben Roethlisberger. I personally think I would.
He's an upgrade for backup over Duck Hodges and
Mason Rudolph. So I'm gonna be honest. As a backup, I'd rather have Jameis Winston than Mason Rudolph.
Yep.
And even as a starter, I would rather have Jameis Winston than Mason Rudolph.
If Jameis Winston is on the Steelers, they might have made the playoffs last year.
100%.
Just because the rest of that team is really good.
Yeah. So I think that could be another place that he could land. So yeah, that's Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. Speaking of quarterbacks, former franchise quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton got released.
So now he's currently a free agent.
And he's a free agent. He got released because he's expensive. He was expensive for the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some injury troubles the past couple of years, but a lot of people forget that he's only 3 or 4 seasons removed from an MVP season.
Yeah.
And
Super Bowl.
His team went to the playoffs after that. And keep in mind, when he won MVP, Corey Brown and Ted Ginn were his best receivers.
Yep. No, he's still a very elite quarterback. I think still even a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And the fact that he is still a free agent is crazy to me. I think he needs to be on a roster. Because, again, like those 3 teams we just talked about, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and New England, Cam Newton would be an upgrade, obviously, even over Jameis Winston upgrade, than to those 3 teams.
Absolutely.
I think he'd go into a place like Jacksonville and obviously beat out Gardner Minshew. And a place like Pittsburgh, I think...
He might be able to beat out Big Ben.
Yeah, and then, obviously, the Patriots. But, yes, I think that I'm going to be honest. I think he could go into other places and take starting jobs also. So that's why I think he's just a step above Jameis Winston, and he is the best. I'm going to say the best offensive free agent on the market right now.
I agree.
Who is going to lead your team to more wins than you had last season?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, where do you think he should go?
Besides the 3 we talked about?
Yeah.
Detroit. I think he could go in, take Matt Stafford's job, and win more games for the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely. Especially if he's at the peak of his powers. And I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen videos of him throwing, and I've seen videos of him working out, and his arm's great. Mm-hmm. Definitely one of the concerns was with his shoulder, he can push the ball downfield. Cam Newton can throw the ball downfield again.
Yeah.
So teams don't have to load the box up against him and then just play deep cover 3 because he'll burn them.
Yep. I'm also going to say there's been rumors about this in the past, not as much anymore, but Chicago. I mean, I think he could fit in Chicago.
I was going to say that for my team.
Yeah.
Is that he should go to Chicago. I know that Chicago traded for Nick Foles, and they still have Mitch Trubisky's contract, and they've done a very, very bad job of addressing the quarterback room. But Cam Newton can turn the Chicago Bears not only into a playoff team, but a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, absolutely.
With as much talent as they have on the defensive side of the ball.
And offensive side.
There's no reason that they shouldn't be competing for the NFC North, especially with one more playoff spot open.
Yeah, well, like you said, when we were talking about the CBA in the last segment, they were that 7th team that would have made it. And if they had Cam Newton, they would have made it 100%.
They would have been a 6th or 5th seed, honestly, with a healthy Cam Newton. So that's my dream matchup is Cam Newton to the Bears. They also have a great running game to go with it. So that takes off tons of pressure of Cam Newton. I mean, they might be the best running backs that Cam Newton has played with.
Well, I mean, as a tandem.
A tandem, yeah.
Obviously, he played with Christian McCaffrey, who's better than both of their running backs.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, as a complete running back room with two guys.
Mm-hmm. And then since we did this with Jameis Winston, let's just do it with Cam Newton too. I could see him maybe going to a place like LA,
the Chargers, or the Rams.
The Rams, and pushing Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is a backup quarterback, so I think that Cam Newton could start there. Obviously, he'd need more help. I think it's definitely a much better fit for him in Chicago, but that would help out that team too.
I'd even argue, as far as I'll just throw in like an extra team too, that he'd be an upgrade over, and he'd have a Super Bowl ring if he was there last year and healthy. San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
He's way more accurate than
Jimmy
Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And he's way more athletic, and he's way more durable. Like, he's had injury problems, but Jimmy Garoppolo's 10 years younger than him, and he's missed more time than Cam Newton has.
Well, I'm going to be honest. People will still say, like, oh, Cam Newton's injuries history is what's holding him out. But, like, he's not going to get injured. He's still durable, more durable than more
If you've seen the
quarterbacks.
hits that he's taken over his career and realized he's missed as little time as he has, he's a tanky quarterback. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That does it for...
So the NFL, someone in the NFL needs to sign Cam Newton.
Yeah, Cam Newton is
I'd be all over it if I didn't have a guy like... the only people I'd be happy with over him is obviously Patrick Mahomes.
People who like their young guys too.
Yeah,
like the
Deshaun
Giants
Watson
aren't going to sign him just because they like Daniel Jones. The Broncos aren't going to sign him.
Drew Lock,
but I remember, like, last year, there was talks of Cam Newton, and this was before... This is when... Oh my gosh, who was our starting quarterback before? Oh yeah, Case Keenum. We had Case Keenum playing. I was like, if Cam Newton was on this team, we'd be in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. For sure. But we'll see where he goes. Someone in the NFL needs to sign him. Gonna be honest, he's an upgrade over probably 50% of the NFL starting quarterbacks at the moment.
I'd say 50%, and at his peak, he's an upgrade over 90%.
Yeah.
And people forget.
Yeah.
But
so that's it for the quarterback room. You want to move on to the running backs?
Yep.
So the big name running backs that we're talking about that are still free agents. We'll start with Carlos Hyde. He ran for 1,000 yards last year.
He had his best season ever last year.
Yeah, and he's still a free agent. Where do you think he should go?
Well, Houston doesn't want him back.
Okay.
They made that obvious with their move for David Johnson.
Yep.
Honestly, this would be funny just because it'd basically be like a trade. But the Cardinals, they could sign him because obviously he's a bit on the cheaper end to be a complimentary back to Kenyon Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'd be great for Kyler Murray because Carlos Hyde just gashes people up the gut. He's not afraid to... When he makes contact, he gains an extra 2 yards basically every time.
Yeah.
So I could see him going to Arizona and helping push this Arizona team for an NFC West title.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to say Cincinnati. Because obviously they have Joe Mixon there. And they're obviously going to draft Joe Burrow. So you can use Joe Mixon more of as your scat back now and have Carlos Hyde run through the tackles. I mean, really, you can't go wrong. The Bengals cannot go wrong with signing anybody. Let's be honest.
Yeah, just because they're so devoid of talent.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that. Also, the Steelers. The Steelers could use benefit from a running back like that as well.
Yeah. I'd say another team that should look into Carlos Hyde is the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Just because they're a hard-nosed football team. They play their best when their running game is going.
Yeah.
And Carlos Hyde has shown no durability concerns whatsoever. And I think that he's a good fit for their culture, too.
Mhm.
Just as far as like a between-the-tackles kind of runner.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all those places.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the other one, too, or do we have anything else about Carlos Hyde?
I think that does it for Carlos Hyde. But another big-name running back, two-time Pro Bowler, Devonta Freeman, was cut after having a step back, a huge step back, after getting a contract for the Falcons.
Yeah, it was more of kind of along the lines of, I think it was actually more of a disappointment, not a step back, because like obviously he was a two-time Pro Bowler, really good, MVP candidate, got hurt, missed a whole season, then he came back fully healthy. Everyone expected him to be back to the MVP level. He wasn't. Disappointment, cut. And then replaced by Todd Gurley. So
Yeah.
So interesting. I mean, Devonta Freeman is still a solid NFL running back.
I don't think he'll be a starter wherever he goes.
Nope, but I'm going to throw out my place that I think he could fit in. I think he should go to Tampa Bay. I think he could still start in Tampa Bay. Right now, Ronald Jones is the starter there. Or keep Ronald Jones, draft a guy in the draft for Tampa Bay, and then have Devonta Freeman, because Devonta Freeman, I think at this point in his career, needs to be more of a receiving back in order for him to be very effective. I think I had him on my fantasy team this last year. Receiving-wise, he was very effective. I didn't play him the first 2 weeks, but then injuries happened and all that stuff. And he was constantly in my lineup because he would have a receiving touchdown in almost every game. So I think he needs to become more of a receiving back, and I think Tom Brady has to have a receiving back in order for him to be effective.
True. Because, I mean, he checks down a lot.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to go deep.
And I think having Devonta Freeman as your outlet is, like, again, I'm trying to gear it more towards, like, the last few times he's had that, say, like a James White or a Deion Lewis. So for the, like, last 8 years, that's what Tom Brady's had in the backfield as your outlet. Devonta Freeman is a better one of those. Those two, upgrade from those two, I think. So, like, that, he could be a monster in that kind of system.
True. I'm going to couch that by putting him at running back 2 for the Tennessee Titans. I feel like that'd be a really cheap signing. It'd be efficient, and you know, you wouldn't be asking Derrick Henry to pass out of the backfield. Plus, a guy like Ryan Tannehill, you know, he's known for checkdowns, and it certainly played to Tannehill's strengths to have Devonta Freeman out of the backfield. And you could even run 2 running back sets, honestly, with the 2 of them, and no one would know what's coming next.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think those are 2 good landing spots. Both of them, he wouldn't be the featured player, but would definitely contribute to each offense.
Yep. Do you have a third team in mind? I was thinking he could go to the Lions, who have an established running back 1 in Kerryon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And then they haven't really had a successful scat back. They had Amir Abdullah, but he fumbled the ball too much. Devonta Freeman protects the ball pretty well and would be a nice addition to this offense that already has 2 great receivers in Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They, like, 1,000-yard receivers. Kerryon Johnson, a 1,000-yard running back, and then throwing in Devonta Freeman would result in more touchdowns, honestly.
Yeah. If I had to pick one more team, I would probably say Philadelphia. Jordan Howard signed with the Dolphins, so they needed, like, obviously Michael Sanders is obviously the number 1 there. He's earned that position. They found a guy in him. But pair him with Devonta Freeman, you got 2 really stud backs.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
That does it for
the running backs.
I mean, there's a bunch of other guys, just kind of like the linebacker position, where you have veteran guys like Alec Ogletree and Clay Matthews who are still in the open market, but none that make a huge difference in teams of winning games.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say.
Yeah. Same along the lines of wide receiver. We'll talk about one wide receiver at the end of this segment that we think is pretty impactful, but I would say the receiver market's the same way.
Same with tight ends.
People like obviously Tyler Gabriel is there.
But he doesn't make a difference.
Demarius Thomas, Chris Hogan, all these older guys that have played a long time that could just come in and be rotational guys. Same with tight ends. So let's move to offensive linemen.
Yep. So
The biggest one is Jason Peters.
Yeah, Jason Peters, who, I mean, he was injured last season. That's why he's on the market. He's also really old.
Yeah.
I think he's 36.
Yeah.
Maybe on the low end, 38 on the high end, but he's a guy who, when healthy, is a top 10 tackle in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I feel like you draft. You sign Jason Peters after you draft.
Yeah.
So he might be a post-draft signing for somebody who wanted to get a tackle, but might have not gotten the one they wanted. So they bring in Jason Peters to kind of be like a bridge player.
Yeah. So my team that I have for them is the New York Jets. I think that he could fit in the Jets system. Le'Veon Bell is still there at the moment, so I mean they need to put a line in front of him so he can run. And I think Jason Peters would fit very well. I mean, they did sign Connor McGovern, so that's a center that's going to be an upgrade from whatever they have. Add Jason Peters as a bridge guy. Give Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold at least some chance to do something. So I think that could be a place for him.
I like that fit. I also like the idea of Jason Peters going to a team like the Browns, where they signed Jack Conklin, and he played right tackle, but they still don't necessarily have an answer at blindside. And they could get Jason Peters and then draft a left tackle in the second or third round.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be great to shore up the offensive line because, I mean, Baker Mayfield was running around like crazy last year just because he had no time to throw.
Yeah.
And they saw that and they addressed the offensive line in free agency. We'll see them addressed in the draft. And if they also sign Jason Peters, who could easily slide in and play like a pass pro guard, then, I mean, that'd be a pretty solid offensive line out in Cleveland.
One other team I thought of would be the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they could benefit from having veteran leadership on the offensive line. I mean, that's kind of what they've built around the last 5 to 8 years is try to get the old veterans on the offensive line.
It's definitely a Raiders type of signing.
Yeah, so
and it could be an answer if that guy from UConn, or not UConn, why did I say UConn? I meant to say UCLA, that tackle that they have.
doesn't work out.
Doesn't work out. I forget his name.
That's all right.
But he's allowed a lot of pressures since he got drafted, and a lot of people weren't very happy with that drafting that they reached. So,
so that's Jason Peters. Who else we got on offensive line?
well, this offensive lineman isn't a free agent. However, they should be a target for a bunch of teams. Trent Williams, who is younger and I think better than Jason Peters.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He does not want to play for the Washington Redskins because they're
No.
a bad organization. We've talked about this millions of times.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Redskins would be wise just to... We might see a Titans Jarrell Casey situation play out where somebody sends over a 7th-round pick and gets Trent Williams for free, essentially. The only thing that they would take is his contract. And I think that it's more of a contender move.
You know what I would do? If I was the Denver Broncos, trade away a 7th and Garrett Bowles and get Trent Williams.
Yeah, I don't even
That
know.
would be a massive move.
That would be a great move if we could get rid of Garrett Bowles.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they'll take him.
I know, I'm just saying, like, that's the team.
The Broncos could definitely send, I'd say even a 6th-round pick would be fine for Trent Williams because he'd be a day one starter here.
Yeah.
Just because Garrett Bowles is terrible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So what other team do you think could make trades for him? I just put out the Broncos because obviously we're Broncos fans and it's fun to think about. But all right, you got to pick a team that you, if you were, would trade for him.
I mean, I feel like a team that could benefit from Trent Williams, who's a contender, or, at least thinks that they're a contender, is the San Francisco 49ers. Joe Staley is at the end of his run, and having Trent Williams would allow you to either put Staley on the right side, which is an easier tackle position to play, just from an objective standpoint, and it would make your team better, and you'd be able to play the same way that you did. I don't think that they can play the same style of football that they did if Joe Staley stays at left tackle. However, I think that they can play the same style, and they might even be able to pass more.
Yeah.
With Trent Williams at left tackle. Another team that could obviously make this move is the Seahawks, who never have had an offensive line in Russell Wilson's career.
Yep. My team's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I think if the Minnesota Vikings made this trade, it would boost everything the Vikings are. Obviously, Dalvin Cook is their running back, and he still had 1,200 rushing yards last year, and he was hurt for 3 games. But the Vikings need help on the offensive line, absolutely. And I think that would be a big trade that the Vikings could do, and I think they have the resources to trade for him. So
It's a contender move.
Yeah.
For anybody to get a left tackle.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to the defensive line, the other side.
Which is the most hyped part of free agency.
Still, because he has not signed.
Yeah. So the number one free agent heading into free agency was Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
He was looking for $20 million a year.
He dropped it to. He did come out saying earlier this week that he is dropping his asking price from $20 million to $17 million a year.
Which is a huge difference.
Yep.
And it puts a bunch of other teams in the mix. I know that the Tennessee Titans were a hot spot. And we've talked about Jadeveon Clowney as to where he should sign, but why isn't he signed?
I guess just too expensive, but now he's not that expensive anymore. Even though we say he's too expensive, quote unquote, he definitely should probably get at least, I think he's an $18 million guy.
I think he's a $20 million
Yeah,
guy.
I mean,
he's a franchise player.
Yeah, I don't know about $20 million yet because obviously we've seen him make some pretty good plays and stuff like that. But obviously, I still think to be that franchise player, he needs at least 1 or 2 more years of J.J. Watt style play if he's going to be that franchise guy. But he can't do that.
He's capable.
He's going to do that. I'm just saying he's not there yet. He hasn't gotten there yet. So that's why I'm going to say $18 million instead of $20 million.
So would you say ego is the only thing stopping Jadeveon Clowney from being on a team right now?
Yes. I mean, everyone knows Jadeveon Clowney from when he was in college playing for South Carolina, busts through the line and pops that dude's helmet off. Like, that was one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life. Like, that's probably in my top 10 plays of all time for me. But I haven't seen, like, obviously he's been playing well in the NFL, but I haven't seen that type of spectacular plays from him in the NFL yet. I still think they're coming. Because, he's always been in the shadow of J.J. Watt in Houston. He needs to be on his own somewhere, the number one guy.
I'd argue that he was that guy for the Seahawks, and I'd argue that even on a defense with Bobby Wagner, he was the best defensive player.
Yeah.
And that kind of segues into who needs to sign him. It's the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle Seahawks need to re-sign him, yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney can be the face of the defense in Seattle for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And he's worth the $17 million a year, $18 million a year for the Seattle Seahawks, who I think if they let... Because they also haven't re-signed another defensive end that we'll talk about. But if they let both of those guys walk, everyone's going to walk all over their defense next year.
I will say, I think the reason that both, again, we're going to talk about, we'll just say his name, Ezekiel Ansah, is the other guy that was on that roster that has not resigned. I think the reason that both of them are not signed yet is because they're trying to work a deal with at least one of them. One of them will be back in Seattle before the draft, I'm going to say.
And it should be
Jadeveon Clowney.
It should be Clowney. No disrespect to Ansah, who's also a good player.
Who we're going to talk about in a second, who should go somewhere and be a starter too.
But Clowney is
better.
He should be a Seattle Seahawk for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Or the rest of his relevant career, at least.
I guess if we're just gonna go out and say what else. We already talked about it, but a place like Jacksonville would be a good spot if he doesn't re-sign in Seattle. I think that would be a big move. So yeah, I think we already talked about that, how Jacksonville would benefit from that.
Yeah, and how both sides would win. The only reason I think that he hasn't signed with Jacksonville is I feel like Jacksonville is just hesitant to spend big money on defensive players after they did that, and it didn't turn into a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but all in all, I think we can agree that the Seattle Seahawks is his place.
Yeah.
So let's go to their other defensive line that they haven't re-signed, Ezekiel Ansah. A little bit older, obviously, than Jadeveon Clowney, but still
young.
Still younger. Definitely should be a starter somewhere. I'm going to say not in Seattle. I don't think he's going to be in Seattle next year. I'm going to say a place like Minnesota. Who we're going to talk about the next one we're talking about is Everson Griffith, who was the Vikings star. Everson Griffith. I I mean, obviously they should re-sign Everson Griffith, but if they don't get him, I think Ezekiel Ansah could be a perfect plug-and-play guy there.
I agree. That's a good fit. I was going to say Ansah could go to a team like the Chargers, who I don't think Melvin Ingram is working out anymore, and I think that they need to move on. So I feel like Ansah could be a good replacement guy for teams that are overpaying a defensive end right now.
Yeah.
So a team like the Chargers, you could include a team like Jacksonville, obviously, in there. But I feel like his best move and the best move for a team is not necessarily him being the missing piece, but him being a starting level guy, which is exactly what he is.
Yeah. And that'd be actually terrifying if he went to the Chargers because you have Joey Bosa on one side and Ezekiel Ansah on the other side.
Who would just do his job.
Yeah, so like that would be a good fit. I'm also going to say New England. They need Van Noy signed with the Dolphins. They need to. I mean, Van Noy isn't going to rush the passer very much, but they need to add a pass rusher. They need to.
They do.
So,
and like we just said, Ansah's not a flashy guy. He's not going to take away from the team. And I mean, jeez, the Patriots look like they're trying to tank. So
yeah.
they should at least have some talent on their team so that they can play in games.
Yeah. And
Ansah would be one of the better defensive ends that New England's had in quite some time, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So that's Ziggy Ansah. And that brings us to our last one. I just mentioned Everson Griffith. He was still a top 5 sack guy for the Vikings last year. I mentioned it for a second. His place is back with the Vikings. He needs to get re-signed, but we'll see if that happens.
I know that he's obviously a bit older, and he does have some mental health concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's been up in the air for organizations, but I think a place that would fit Everson well is the Jets, who have experience with players who have mental health issues and are a bit more progressive in that sense. And, he's a guy who could immediately start there and could be veteran leadership for a Jets front seven. Because Jamal Adams is the dude in New York. He's the best player on their team. But they need more players if they're going to be able to compete in the AFC East that's kind of wide open right now.
Yeah, I would give it the best shot is the Bills right now.
The Bills. And
I have to give it to the Bills right now.
And I mean, any of the teams in the East could beat the Bills once a year.
Yeah.
Even the Patriots could.
Yeah.
Once a year.
It definitely is wide open. So, yeah. It would just be heartbreaking to see the big three from Minnesota of Linval Joseph, Everson Griffith, and Donnell Hunter just be reduced to Donnell Hunter.
Yeah.
But so they should at least re-sign him, but we'll see. Yeah, that's it for the defensive line, correct?
Yep, and it brings us to the last position of defensive back.
Yeah. So there's 2 big names we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about Logan Ryan first.
Who, I don't know why he's not back with the Titans.
Yeah.
It may just be, I know that they're trying to maneuver the cap, which they have to because they tagged Derrick Henry and they signed Tannehill.
Yeah.
So he probably won't return there just because they just don't want to spend the money on him.
Yeah. So Logan Ryan is definitely, well, I think he's the top corner left, besides the other guy we're going to talk about in a second. I think he's not really on the level of Jalen Ramsey or anything like that. But
he's a starting level guy.
He's definitely a starting level guy. A 1. He's gonna cover the 1 receiver.
He can also play in the slot too,
Yeah.
which is huge in the NFL these days.
So I definitely do think that yes, the Titans should re-sign him. But another place kind of like the Titans would be the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they could really benefit from having a guy like Logan Ryan. It's definitely a signing that I could see the Raiders making. I think it would help out the fact that Marcus Mariota's there too, so send both of them over. They have chemistry there. Obviously, it's opposite defense, but help each other out.
Yeah, I think that smart signing, like a team that would benefit huge from signing Logan Ryan, is the Colts, who, they're looking to contend this year, and Logan Ryan is a guy who will help you contend.
Yeah.
And I'd make the same argument for Rashad Breeland, who we'll talk about in a second. But the Colts signing Logan Ryan would be huge, or the Chiefs signing Logan Ryan.
If they don't re-sign Rashad Breeland.
And they could get Logan Ryan for cheaper, too, is the important thing, than Rashad Breeland. So that's probably why Breeland's leaving.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything else to talk about with Logan Ryan, you can go ahead and start talking about Breeland.
We'll just go into Rashad Breeland. So, obviously a Super Bowl winning corner for this last year. Played well for the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, his asking price is pretty high.
He's probably going to be Byron Jones level, if not a little bit lower or higher.
Yeah, it'll be, if someone signs him for more than Byron Jones, it'll be a very bad move, because I think Byron Jones is better than Rashad Breeland and should make that money. I think Byron Jones should be the top paid corner this year, but I could see Rashad Breeland being the second top or second highest paid corner, which is fine. Place I want to say is Washington. They have a good defense already. They're going to draft, what's his name? Chase Young. And so just to add that corner back there to lock it down would be huge.
Yep, that'd be great news for the Redskins. I'd only say that they're probably a little hesitant to spend big on a cornerback following the last time that they did, which was a huge failure.
Josh Norman.
Yeah, Josh Norman.
Yeah.
Speaking of Josh Norman and places that he's been, I think Carolina would be wise to go after Rashad Breeland. They've freed up a ton of cap space by releasing Cam Newton, and they didn't do this, but Luke Kuechly retiring, they're still going to pay him his salary, but they have that future salary, and that'd be a wise move for the Panthers because they don't really have anybody on the defensive side of the ball worth at least no Pro Bowl caliber players, and Rashad Breeland's a Pro Bowl guy.
Yeah. Speaking of teams that don't really have many guys on the defense, I'm going to say the New York Giants. The Giants could definitely benefit from having a guy like Rashad Breeland.
It's going to be a team that is completely deprived of talent and has lots of money.
Yep.
He might even sign with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Just because they still have a pretty decent amount of money.
Yeah. Maybe the Jets, too.
Yeah.
I think that is it for the corners. We have one guy left that we're going to talk about who was a free agent, and his name is Antonio Brown.
Yep, he's back in the news, and not for the reasons that we are used to.
Yeah.
And he was back in the headlines because he did a workout with Hollywood Brown and Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
So
the Ravens.
If anyone's we're gonna just play the scenario that's been given to us, because playing the dating game with Antonio Brown doesn't really work out.
We're not doing it. We're just gonna play the one scenario.
And the Ravens would be a good fit for multiple reasons. He has somebody to kind of keep him in reality, and that's his cousin, Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. So they would be. That's the reason he worked out with them, is because Marquise Brown is his cousin, and Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown were doing some workouts, and they invited him to work out, and obviously the media was there because it's Antonio Brown. But yeah, this is kind of scary in the fact that this might be the missing piece that the Ravens have.
The Ravens are already probably favorites to win the Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah.
And if they add a guy like Antonio Brown, a lot of people forget when Antonio Brown. A lot of people will be like, oh, maybe he's rusty or something. No. If Antonio Brown plays this next year, he's going to be a top 5 receiver.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind. And that might not be statistically just because of the way that the Ravens run their team. But as far as impact goes and as far as just not being coverable, it's Antonio Brown.
Yeah, this is the one team that, he's the best fit there. And if he's going to play in the NFL, obviously there's a lot that has to go into that, but if he's going to play in the NFL and he goes to this team, the Ravens, they're probably going to, they're already Super Bowl contenders and favorites to win the Super Bowl, and I think it just adds even more of a favorite to their name. Because now, think about this, obviously Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, the MVP. Let's remember last year he was throwing to Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown and Willie Snead, right?
Hayden Hurst is gone.
Yeah. But if you take away Willie Snead and Hayden Hurst and add Antonio Brown, now he's throwing to Mark Andrews, who's arguably one of the better tight ends right now in the league,
And will only be better now
Yeah.
in year 2.
Yeah. Marquise Brown, who is a speed freak. Good luck trying to cover him. To add another uncoverable guy like Antonio Brown, what are secondaries going to do?
Let the Ravens run for 8 yards per carry.
Yeah, because, again, you still have Mark Ingram as your starting running back there, so,
And Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah.
Who can make all the throws and run all over the place.
Yeah, so I definitely think that if he signed with the Ravens, it'd be big time. That's what the Ravens needed. They needed to add another receiver to this offense. They shored up their defense in free agency, in trades. They have a great offensive line and really offensive skill players. They just needed to add one more weapon. And if Antonio Brown signs, that's the weapon.
Yep. That does it for free agency headlines. And, if any of you listeners have any ideas, you could comment on the video on Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Where you think these players should go.
Coming up next, we have funny intramural stories.
And Simon Villanos will be
joining us over the phone. So,
yeah.
Coming up
Look
next.
forward to that.
Welcome back to the Cycle 365. This is the third segment of episode 27. I'm your host, Cody Stauffer, and I'm here with Simon Villanos over the phone. What's up, Simon?
Yes, sir. What's good, y'all? Hope y'all being safe and doing y'all's part so we can end this thing early.
Simon is doing his part, and that's why he's over the phone. Good job, Simon.
Thank you.
So, for this segment, we're doing something a little special where we here at the Cycle are going to talk through our intramural seasons and just kind of reflect on some of the funnier moments or more memorable moments as part of the just like April Fool's kind of thing where you guys get to know us and maybe get to chuckle a little bit. Then we got a surprise for you in the fourth segment. Right, Simon?
Yep.
All right, so first year, Simon, what was our team name for basketball?
Oh man, we were memeing. We went with the Flint, Michigan Tropics, right?
Yep, and that's a shout out to Jackie Moon and Will Ferrell. If you've seen Semi-Pro, then you know.
Yep.
But I think we had a pretty talented squad, honestly. I just don't think that we had a lot of things going against us that year.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Honestly, for me, like, if I'm just being honest, like, I was still kind of trying to get to know you, and then our boy Zach, who was on the squad, because y'all were the ones who, like, recruited me. I don't know exactly what you said. I think Zach just asked if I played basketball, and I was like, yeah, I hooped a little bit. And then yeah, it came to be. But, like, my thing was, like, I didn't know anybody, really. I barely knew y'all. So, like, I didn't know how y'all played. I didn't know if y'all were good or, like, what was about to go down, to be honest. I don't know. I was just trying to make friends in the freshman year.
And we definitely made some memories. It was bad because I knew you pretty well, and I was hyping up Garrett to, like, everybody on the team. Or I was hyping this kid up. It's all right. We'll worry about that later. I was hyping this one kid up on our team because, you've seen him at different times. He's actually really good at basketball. And so he was kind of supposed to be a big force on the team, but he was playing like doo-doo for, basically the whole year. Come to find out, he tells us after the season is over that he punctured his lungs snowboarding before the first game.
Yep. I thought you told us, I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering it, but I thought he told us near the end. So, like, we still had, like, a game or two left. Because, like, I remember being like, well, shoot, I feel like he shouldn't be playing then if he has a like right now if he has a punctured lung.
Oh wait, you're right.
know.
I think we still had like our playoff game or like a regular season game left.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it was kind of near the end, like, and I mean, I don't know, like, I didn't think he was trash because I know we had, I don't know how many practices, we had a practice or something, or maybe I just saw him hoop, and like, I knew he was pretty good, and then like, when the season came around, it just, I don't know, he seemed a little off, you know?
I was like stressing because I was like, bro, I hyped you up to everybody. Why aren't you making any shots?
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, I don't know. We had some really good players. You know what I mean? Like, see, now I don't want to name drop because I don't know what I could say or not. I mean, I guess we could always edit it out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, we definitely had a lot of talented players. I mean, I'm going to shout out my boy, Big Nate. You know, a.k.a. White Lonzo Ball, you know what I mean? Like, this dude, he was pretty fire from the perimeter. Like, you know, he didn't really take a bunch of layups or mid-range shots, but, you know, he was our three-point guy, and he was a sniper for real. And I don't know if he did this on purpose. I still don't know if, like if this was just him messing around, but he had this, like, Lonzo Ball-esque shot. But it was money each time. Like, he was shooting people's faces, and, like, he was honestly good for at least a solid 10 to 15 points each day, at least. You know, on his best days, he's a flamethrower on there offensively, so.
yeah, he was a really good three-point shooter. And then I was just going to say I could message all of them and ask them if it's okay to use their names too. So, and they'll probably all say yes because they'll be like, oh, we're going to be name-dropped on a podcast? So... yeah. Nate was pretty heat from three-point land. And then we obviously had Kevin who, I mean, like you said, he's a slasher, and he was good for double-digit points every game too. Like, offense wasn't the biggest problem that we had. Like, we could consistently score like 30 to 40, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought individually at least, I thought we had some pretty good offensive ball players, you know, like, I mean, Kevin, he was all right from perimeter, but his game was like slashing, like getting into the paint, like getting rebounds, starting fast breaks, and we all kind of just bought into that too, and like adapted to his offense, you know what I mean? And so like, and it worked out, you know, like I'd set up my off-ball screens, Nate would be on the perimeter, I mean, you or whoever else would be running, you know, and then Kevin flashing it. So it just worked out, to be honest, most of the time. Most of the time.
Yeah, until the incident happened.
Oof. Yeah, do you want to... So, I mean, we're all there, but you were the one that was there the longest.
Yeah, I was in for the... So, we were supposed to play a playoff game, weren't we? But the other team didn't show up. Yeah, so we were supposed to play a playoff game, and the other team didn't show up, but we were all still ready to ball. So we just played a pickup game against some other team that was in the league, I think. Maybe it was just some guys at the gym, but...
No, it was the team we were supposed to play. They just showed up late.
Okay. So we ended up playing them, and we played a good game against them. Mind you, there wasn't like refs or a scoreboard, but we were running up and down the court and competing and scoring with them. And then, do you recall the exact play or like how it happened? It was a rebound, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember because I was there. Hold up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there. I mean, I was on the court with Kevin at the time, so I want to say we were running it on offense, right? And I think it was like a fast break type of thing. It was me, and Kevin at the very least. And I remember, like, I passed off the ball to Kevin, and I want to say he either went up for a layup or he missed the shot at first and then went up for the rebound. And then someone's foot was right below his, so when he came down, he, like, came down on the dude's foot and not on, like, solid ground. And his ankle was, like, all messed up. And it was a kind of a tangled mess, because by the time he came, like, I mean, I was there, and then obviously the guy who was standing there was there on the other team, and then there was one other person. I don't really remember who it was, but it was kind of like a tangled mess. And then Kevin was on the floor still after all that. So yeah.
So our boy got Zaza'd, essentially.
Pretty much.
And so he was laying there for a minute before staff came in. And they were like, "Can you walk on it?" And he's like, no, it hurts pretty bad." And so then, this isn't funny, but it kind of is. So they bring out a wheelchair, and I'm gonna drive, and I drove him to the hospital, so I get to drive my car back on like the staff like sidewalk or whatever. And I park my car outside one of the gyms, and they wheel him to the doors, only to find out that the wheelchair is wider than the doors. So then he has to get up and he has to hop on one foot all the way around to the passenger side of my car, which is of course on the other side.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Do I hop on the stairs or down the ramp?" And I was like, "Kevin, I don't think it matters. It's not great either way." And then he actually had like a test the next day. And so
Yeah.
when we were at the hospital waiting for like his x-ray or whatever the heck to come up, I was helping him study for his psych test because he was worried about failing it. And then he was like playing Pokemon Go in the ER with just like his leg propped up. And the worst part was like the nurse or whatever took off his sock and was like, "Do you cut your nails?"
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was foul, but it was pretty hilarious because he ended up being okay. So.
Yeah, he was fine. I mean, like, it took him a while, I think, actually, for him to like kind of come back from that. Because I know he wanted to do intramurals the next year, but he was. I mean, I don't know. I guess it just didn't work out. Like, he wasn't really feeling it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not about to expose him right now, you know. But when football intramural playoffs came for co-ed, I heard some things that happened because his ankle wasn't 100%. So I'm just gonna leave it there because Kevin ain't here to defend himself. I can't bring it up. I wouldn't want to bring it up. He knows what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, and if Noah listens, he'll know too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll email this to Noah. Or whatever.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
But that did it for year one. And here comes back, I should say, Jesse Booten.
Hello.
Hey, Jesse.
What's up, Simon?
I'm hanging in there, bud.
That's good.
But so we just talked about the first season. Second season of intramural basketball was
a disaster.
I mean, you're not wrong. We had a lot of inexperienced people who either never played basketball or just never played a sport.
You're right.
Yes.
And that proved to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, but it was still special, though, because, like, I mean, I don't know if you just said this or not, but, I mean, it was kind of like our inner friend group, you know what I mean? And, I mean, it was all dudes, so we were playing in men's league. But it was like our inner friend group, I'd say. And so it was a pretty tight-knit group. Like, we all knew each other for at least a year, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know, it was special in that way. It was difficult because of, like, the actual skill level, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I hear it was fun playing with all my friends, though. Because, I mean, we ate dinner before every game all together, and, you know, like, we would talk about the game for, like, the next week and, like, talk about this silly stuff that happened.
Yep.
I think, Jesse, you have one of the better stories about one of our less skilled players getting the ball and bringing it up the court.
Oh yes, Liam.
Yeah.
So our dear friend Liam, he's a great friend. He's a good friend. Not the best at basketball, but that's okay.
Yeah. He scored points on the season, so
He did. I remember one time I had the ball to inbound to him, and no one else was there. I was like, okay. Well, I inbounded the ball to him. I took one step onto the court, and I saw him double dribbling, and I just turned around and started walking because I knew it was going to happen towards our basket. So, yeah, that happened.
that's you might as well just pass it to the other team.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's okay. Yeah, but he had a very fun quote that he said after we lost to probably the best team in the league, the Milkmen. What did he say, Cody?
Well, for sensory purposes, I can't say the whole quote.
Yes.
But he did challenge the Milkmen to play him in esports,
Yes.
followed by some controversial words.
Yes.
Some expletives.
Yes.
Expletives is the word. And Liam would have beat them in esports.
He would have. But yeah.
Yeah.
Just
well,
not
we'll-
the sport
One
of
day we might
that.
need to get Liam onto the podcast because, like, I know he's a big football fan too, and he's a fun guy. So that'd be a fun thing to do.
He's a fun guy.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get Liam on here sometime, and I'm sure the listeners will love to hear him. Yeah.
He's insightful.
We could get his perspective of the season because I always thought that'd be interesting too. Because I mean, I feel like us three probably had most of like the athletic experience that made up. Hold on, what was our team name? Team Flex Seal?
Yep, Team Flex Seal, baby. 2018.
Yeah. But anyways, us three made up most of the experience on Team Flex Seal, and there were 10 players. So that, I think, we're used to going through the whole season grind and off season and, obviously preseason playoffs, all that stuff. But like some of these guys haven't really like gone through all of that. So like the process for them is all new. And so for them to go through that process, like in college, is kind of dope. So like I'd really love to like hear what they'd have to say about stuff like that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have a couple of people that definitely spoke on it, like, just some people that literally never played sports.
You're right.
Yeah.
Should we share the best moment of that season for sure?
Yeah, I'll allow it, and then I'll explain I'm here to defend myself, so it's okay.
All right. So the best moment of this season was we were in one of the games, getting ready to go to halftime, and Grant, there's probably about 13 seconds left on the clock.
Wasn't it the Milkmen?
I don't remember who it was.
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but the other team had the ball and they were taking it down. And we were on defense, and one of our teammates sitting on the bench, his name is Jason Murphy. He starts to count down to like try to mess up the other team, right? And he's going, there's like 10 seconds left, and he goes like 5, 4, 3, like 5 seconds ahead of the actual clock. But it didn't get the other team at all. The other team had already shot the ball, and Cody got the rebound, and it definitely got Cody because there was still 5 to 8 seconds left on the clock, and I was wide open screaming at him to pass me the ball, but he just turned around and hucked it to the full court shot. Did not make it whatsoever. I don't even think he made it to the other side of the court. And we all just look at him, and we're like, Cody, what are you doing? There's 8 seconds left in the gap. And he's like, I heard Jason counting down. So go ahead and explain yourself, Cody.
I threw the ball the whole length of the court. It just didn't even hit the backboard. But, we don't practice full court shots. And to me, it wasn't even like specifically Jason counting down. I just heard counting down. And by the time I got the rebound, which was like a pretty heads-up rebound, I'm at least going to give me that. There is supposedly 2 seconds left on the clock. So of course I'm going to turn around and huck the ball.
Yeah.
I feel like... Go ahead.
So I was actually right next to Murph while he was counting down. So I got to see his facial expression throughout that whole sequence. And it was pretty crazy because I think... So he was counting down because he's kind of like this dude that like just messes with people. Like he's a guy that has a bunch of great sports stories. Like he's a fun guy. Another fun guy, but for real though, he was my roommate my freshman year of college, and he's been like a brother ever since. But and we'll have to get him on the podcast so we can tell some of these stories. But I watched as he like looked really satisfied that he got the other team to shoot super early, and then he was like all confused when Cody put up that shot. And he like looked at me. He was like, "What the? Why do you do that?" And I was like, "Because of you." And then he was like, "What do you mean?" And then he like clicked in his head after a second. He was like, "Oh, whoops." And then that's how he went into halftime.
Yeah, from my perspective, I was standing. So I was playing the point, right? And Cody gets the rebound, and I can just see it all happening in slow motion. I hear Jason counting down. I see Cody getting the rebound, and I'm like, oh no, he's just about to chuck it. So I was just screaming at top of my lungs. I'm like, Cody, don't shoot it, throw it to me, because there was no one on me. I could have just laid up. We had enough time where I could have dribbled down the court and laid it up just fine, and we could have scored. But yeah, it was pretty funny. I saw it all in slow motion.
I had Mamba mentality going when I got the rebound, just not court or clock awareness.
Yep.
Yeah. That happens. This is a joke. Like, it's all love, obviously, but like that's when I kind of realized, like, oh well, this is like, we're probably not going to win the game this season, so might as well just have fun with it, you know. And it was a fun part, but like at the same time, that was also the moment I realized, like, dang, this we're near the end of the season, and this is what we got. Cody's fault. It was just miscommunication, which was like, it happens, you know. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did not win a game that year, but we had fun.
We did have fun.
We made memories.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Very true. I also thought, I don't know, my credits and all that was kind of, like, I knew I was going to graduate early, so I also kind of thought that, like, this might have been my last intramural basketball season, too, because I was going to go student teach, and I was planning on student teaching back home and not up at college, so at the time, like, I feel like I was kind of just real, like, emotional and down sometimes, because I was like, dang, this sucks. We haven't won a regular season intramural game. Well, I haven't won a regular season intramural basketball game at all while in college. And, this is the last season. And then, obviously, that was a lie, because we had one more together as a group.
we did have one more, and we got that regular season win.
We did.
As our last basketball game. And it was the last, intramural game of the semester, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes us the intramural champs.
Yep. Which
Champs.
Well, Simon, if we're the champions, you have to hold up your end of the bargain.
I don't know what you were talking about. How about we tell them this story? Go for it. And then I'll say my part.
Well, this dates back to last season, where some of our teammates, they all lived in the same building, so they took a picture of just them shirtless in a really tiny shower, and they said Team Flex Seal Shower. And so then it became a meme after that, where he'd always be like, alright, team shower after the game. And Simon would be like, no, bro, I ain't. Pause.
What? Yeah, pause. Straight up.
But, Simon, would you like to tell the audience of your deal for this season?
Yeah, so it was like the fall semester, right? So obviously it was before any of this COVID-19 stuff was going around, and we thought life was going to be normal. But so here, let me backtrack a little bit. So we made the decision to go to co-ed because this wasn't my words. It was just what we heard, but it was a little bit easier. The competition was a little bit easier, and then we could get some of our female friends involved too, who were some good friends. And so, I don't know. I still wasn't feeling as confident. I don't know how high my expectations were because I wasn't sure about the level of skill in this new league. So I said to, I forgot who I said it to. I know Brian was there. Whoops. Or I know our boy Zach was there too, for a fact. And I said, well, hold up. If we win the a championship, like the co-ed championship, then I'll do this stupid little, team shower joke with y'all. And that'll be that, but it has to be the championship, like no regular season stuff. Like we gotta make it through the playoffs, which was, the biggest obstacle in my mind, at least.
Well,
if everyone makes it, from the regular season on.
You said that you wanted a shirt, and if you do the here's a little plug here, the April Running Challenge for Northern Colorado, you get a champion shirt.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that in further detail. But going into the season, we ended up winning a game, and it was a good game. It was a fun game to win. But that also brought the biggest SC not top 10 moment of the season, when one of our more inexperienced girl players, who she only played volleyball up until that point, so she never touched a basketball. During our game, she shot on the wrong basket. She didn't make it, but it made Jesse upset.
Well, yeah, because I made the most athletic play of my life right before it happened, where Cody was trying to steal the ball, and he hit it out, but it was going out of bounds off him. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try and save it for our team. So I jump out of bounds. So I'm completely in the air, grabbing the ball, a good probably 3 feet out of bounds in the air. Have the ball, turn around, don't see who it is. I throw it back into our teammate, who then just takes it, turns around, and shoots on her own basket. And I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Simon, were you also screaming from the sideline, like, no? Because, I was on the other side of the court, because I was getting ready to move up court, and I was just like, no! But it was, too late.
Yeah, it was a scary moment. It kind of rolled around on the rim, too, so, it looked like it was going in for, a real, a split second, and then it didn't.
Thank goodness it didn't go in.
Yeah.
She was also a victim of another Big Murph moment. I'm saying of Big Murph in practice.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to? I mean, we don't have to. That moment was a little much, to be honest. But we were having fun. We were trying to compete, get after it. I mean, I know it told Murph. I was like, yo, bro, I better see you being all Draymond Green out here in this practice. And he was like, I got you, Big Simon. And then he did what he did, and I felt bad.
I can't believe you unleashed Big Murph on our teammate, who's not even 100 pounds, bro.
Yeah, and Murph's he's a big guy too,
Yeah, he's
the reason we call him Big Murph. Also, he's a state champion wrestler, so there's that. He's an athlete for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna expose him anyway, just because.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
But keep in mind, this was endorsed by Simon Villanos. So we're doing this for those who play basketball. It's a 3-on-2-on-1 drill. So you go down the court with 3 people, 3 offense against 2 defense, and then back the other way. And whoever shoots the shot on the first possession of 3 is supposed to play defense on the 2-on-1. And this girl, who once again never has played basketball, doesn't even weigh 100 pounds, she goes to shoot the ball, and she has a really slow shot. And Big Murph just comes in and swats the heck out of this ball right back into her, and she just ducks and hits the ground so that the ball doesn't take her head off. And she lived to see another day, but everyone just lost it in the gym, and it put on a good, I want to say 5-minute break, just because we couldn't take it seriously, because Jason just swatted it so hard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like that one guy, just to set the, set the background. He's that one hooper that jumps at everything really hard, and so this was the one. Okay, it wasn't the one time, because it's happened in games. He's had some good blocks and defensive plays, but this was the one time in practice, at least, where him jumping like really like hard at at a shot actually paid off, and it was pretty bad. Like oh my gosh, it was like a mid-range shot from the elbow. And this dude was like in the paint or something crazy like that when he shot or when he jumped, and yeah, it was kind of insane.
He blocked it so hard.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it was a good time.
But you know, we had to make everyone suffer anyway, so it turned out fine. You know.
Just say it, Jesse.
I was just gonna say, do you have any more fun moments, or is that basically it? We got the dub.
We did get the dub. That was the most fun I had. Was just winning that game down the stretch.
Yeah.
And coming out with a win. I was pretty happy about that.
So from now on, if we graduate, me, Cody, and Simon will always be winners from this day forward.
That's true.
That's true.
Catch the Cycle 365.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say, catch the Cycle 365, repping that winning attitude, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so sad, though. Like, I mean, honestly, yeah. So, honestly, we had a pretty good squad, you know, from the guys, through all the guys, and then through all the girls. Like, we had a number of hoopers. Like, obviously, you and me, Cody, like, we've played together for 3 years, so there's that, you know. Jesse and I, this was our second year together, for sure. And then, me and Murph, like, he was on the team as well, and, you know, he's always kind of been, like, a little bit of that glue guy, too, and, you know, we all know him, and he's a great guy to know, so it just worked out. And then our girls were really talented. Like, we had some, like great hoopers who could not only bang down low at the post, but, like, step it back and shoot threes as well, you know. And in this league where, like, each, I guess, basket made by a girl is one extra point. So, like, if you make a 2 as a guy, that would be a 3 for a girl. If you make a 3 as a guy, that would be a 4 for a girl. Like, that was super valuable. And we just had a really good squad. Like, I felt like it was pretty even. Like, obviously, early on, you know, we had some people that, like, you know, we we wanted to be part of it, but they weren't as sure. And so that's obviously where the Flakers name came from, I'd say. But, I mean, it was all love. They still showed up to the games for the most part and supported us. And, I mean, like I said, this team was very, like, well-rounded. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, it was, I get this whole thing's going on, obviously, and it sucks. I mean, we all know that. It sucks. But I really would have loved for us to make a playoff run. Because getting that first dub, like, it was great, you know. But if I'm being honest, we probably should have had 2 or 3 other. Okay, not 3. We should have had 2 other ones leading up to that game.
I mean, we kind of got.
It just, you know, it took us a little bit to get it together. Like, I mean, if I'm just being honest, like, I was a part of it. Like, second half collapses where you just wouldn't have our stuff together, or like, I mean, I became very foul happy, and I was the point guard. And so when we'd run our lines that didn't really have a specific point guard, it looked a little tough out there, seeing you know, some people bring up the ball, and yeah, you know, but we cleaned it up at the end, and yeah, it sucks, you know. It's kind of like a lost season, and then we have a ton of seniors on the squad too. So like, I mean, you know, none of us are really going to play like that, at least at college intramurals ever again. So.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted, and yeah, we could have done better, but overall, I'd say the past 3 years of intramurals have been fun.
It's always fun when you're playing basketball.
Yeah. So, that was...
No, I agree. One day we should go over our football intramural seasons. That'd be...
Mine is really, really short. I played in 1 or 2 games. Even though I was on the squad for 2 years.
Yeah, same. I played in like 5 games over 2 years, but you know, I hope we definitely had fun playing basketball, and hopefully the audience enjoyed hearing about it, including some follies for sure that we experienced.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, that first season after Kevin broke his ankle, we had a playoff game, and we got mercy ruled by this team that was hammered. Like, you could smell the alcohol. And we took a picture at the end of it with the scoreboard behind us after we got mercy ruled with all of us holding an L up.
Well, some of us were holding up an L. Some people were like, it wasn't.
It's backwards.
It was backwards. It was all goofy.
Yeah, but overall it was fun, and thanks for a lot of great memories, fellow cycle co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I think that does it for this segment of Intramural Recap, and stay tuned for a surprise fourth segment.
Yes.
You're gonna want to hear it.
Special one.
Simon, you have the biggest inside scoop on it. How would you?
Do you want me to just say what it is, or?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So this is episode 27. I'm pretty sure. Loki, you probably should have done this earlier, but yeah, it's fine. So over these last 26, well, not 27 episodes. Over these last 26 episodes, you know, we've had a lot of bloopers. Like, none of us are real professionals. You know what I mean? Like, we're all 20 when we were recording this stuff. So, you know, we messed up. And also, I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think we're really funny when we're talking about stuff that isn't as structured with sports and whatnot. So this whole next segment is a compilation on episode 1 through 26. I'm not going to guarantee that there's something from every episode, but it's a lot of good stuff, you know? I mean, if you're doing something, I mean, continue to do it. Like, you don't got to pay attention to this segment per se, but there's a lot of, you know, quick cut, like, one-liners or funny predictions we said, or, you know, things that we did that I thought were very funny. And honestly, I had a blast editing it together. It took a long time, so maybe next time you won't wait as long. But yeah, coming up we got our blooper reel / our funny reel too, I guess. So yeah.
So we'll use this as a segue. Happy April Fools from the Cycle 365, and we're definitely excited to hear the blooper reel, and you should be too.
Yep.
All right, coming up next.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Simon. I'm your host for today.
I'm Jesse Booten.
I'm Cody Stauffer.
And with me, I got one of the newest members of the cycle.
Hi, I'm Jesse Booten.
I'm sorry. Here, we'll pause.
I was a cornerback, and
Nice.
Cody was a receiver. And we played Arapahoe in the second round of the playoffs. And yeah, I locked him down.
Oh,
He didn't get
word.
anything.
So you're saying he didn't get any passes?
He got 0 passes.
Wow.
I don't even think the quarterback targeted him.
All right. See, Cody's going to get mad, and like we've talked about this before, and he's talked about how, like, you know, he blames it on the scheme, and that's understandable. So we'll let it slide for
I will
now.
say they didn't have the best scheme. I mean,
Okay.
there were ways to beat our team and me at corner, but they just didn't do it.
Oh, all right. Hey, that's fair.
Can we go first?
Here, yeah, you go first.
Okay,
you go
so I
first.
have. You're probably gonna freak out about this, but I have the Browns and the Packers playing the Super Bowl.
the pack. Okay,
Browns and the Packers,
I'm.
and then the Packers
Okay.
winning it all, baby.
Oh, wow. Okay. Here, we're running out of time, so I'm not going to comment on that. We're just going to let time, you know.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
talk about this later.
Yeah, we'll talk about this we'll talk about it at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Or, you know, probably sometime during the season, because we'll be coming out with these weekly, hopefully, or at least every 2 weeks. But, alright, that's interesting. I see the Browns making it, but no. So, I'm going to be a homer right here. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to make it, but they're going to be, like, fighting their way to make it into this playoffs. And I think they'll play against the Dallas Cowboys. I think it'll be probably the most watched Super Bowl of all time, low-key,
Yeah.
because it'll be Cowboys and Steelers, right? And, yeah, I'm not going to say the Cowboys are going to win it. Psych! It's going to be the Steelers. We're going to keep grinding through. I think it's going to be a tough playoff push, but I think this is the core that, you know, they'll push through. They're talented. You got all the distractions out of the way, hopefully, so this has to be it. If not, then, you know, it's all downhill from here for the Steelers.
I could also see Ezekiel Elliott winning MVP this year. So.
Same, actually. He might go off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Alright, peace.
Hey,
Alright, that was a good outro song.
Buffalo has won their last 2 games, both in MetLife Stadium. It's kind of funny. They're running New York City.
That's true. They do run New York City. They run New York State right now,
they
actually.
beat the Jets in week 1 in MetLife.
Yeah.
And then they beat the Giants in MetLife.
Yep.
They didn't have to go anywhere.
Take that, New Yorkers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That does it for this segment. Coming up next is Simon and Jesse talking
It's actually not, so don't listen to Cody.
Don't. It's not.
Because
we're gonna edit this. We're gonna edit this. So
this would technically be the end.
Thank you for tuning in to the Cycle 365 with Cody Stauffer.
Jesse Booten.
And Simon Villanos.
Yep, he's still here.
Yes,
so,
he is. So tune in next week for our episode 6. 5.
Episode 5.
Episode 5. Before, if you want to check out something funny, watch Mississippi State's quarterback Garrett Schrader get helicoptered 9 feet in the air. Yes, it was 9 feet. They measured it.
Also, check out our website that is up and running and has all the podcasts we have so far. We'll have a link to that in the description.
Yeah, Simon, just tell them what the URL is, just so they know. Do you not know it?
They lost 35-14 to Wisconsin. Jesse, what do you think about that? A lot of people did pick picked Michigan to be a dark horse team to make it into the playoffs, including Cody Stauffer. So, what do you think?
Well, Cody is obviously dumb, but
Dang.
like a quarterback like Kelmon going, get him in a rhythm, and get the whole offense in general in a rhythm. So I think.
Here, wait. It's like.
What was I saying?
So I realized last week on the podcast, I said that Georgia would blow out Notre Dame, and they won by 1 score. And so I accept that. That's a no. That's a no on my part. And I watched that game. Yeah.
I think they have a good offensive line. I know one of the offensive lines will be taken in the first. He might even be the first pick overall.
Really?
Yeah. What's his name?
I don't know.
Pause it. I gotta find it. I got it. What is in the water in Pullman, Washington?
See, it's that boy Mike Leach, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's that dude. Like, I don't want to call him a Lincoln Riley type, but coming up next.
It's Cody one.
Hey, we did talk about this. NCAA football games, they might be coming back. If this law does pass. That'd be a plus, though. I know you'd love that. I know you'd love that.
Okay, but if it got passed in California, it would just be the California college football game.
Yeah. UCLA versus USC every week, baby! Plus Stanford, I guess, or, Fresno State. Whatever. I still think
you want to play Fresno State?
I mean, no, bro.
Welcome back to the Cycle 365. We're going to welcome in Cody now.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, alright, so we're going to talk about our next segment, NFL, but first,
Okay.
we have a new segment. Not a segment, a new bit.
Okay.
I need a drum roll, please. It's the question of the week. I need a drum roll.
Hope the mic picks that up.
Do mascots have mythical powers?
What do you mean? Like
No, do they have
superstitious?
mythical powers? That's the question. Do mascots have mythical powers?
Okay, wait. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm
powers?
Speechless.
My jaw is hanging open
Well,
at
like
this question.
if you're a Raider, then you have the ability. I don't know.
No. Jesse,
Wait.
provide us
Okay, I'm talking about
an example.
Okay, so it's just let's hear. There was this. Hold on, pause it. I gotta find the thing for you guys.
So, here's the reason that mascots don't have powers. You remember? Actually, help me remember the story, and then I can answer the question.
Okay. What's the story?
Didn't the Ram for CSU die a few years ago before the showdown?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Rams have not won the showdown since the Ram died.
Okay,
Mythical
but
powers.
So clearly they do have mythical powers.
Yeah.
Because Ralphie's not dead, and you know,
See?
the Buffs are.
Okay,
Go on,
okay,
go on.
okay. Here's the thing. Let's know this. Think about it. Last year, Bebo the Longhorn attacked the Bulldog
Oh yeah, that's
in
true.
the Sugar Bowl, and Texas won.
So what you're saying is that you want our mascots to fight each other for
No,
Is that-
no, the question is like,
We do not condone animal abuse on the cycle.
That's what you said, Jesse. That go on. Go
no,
on.
it's just a question. Like, it's gonna be a poll on social media. We'll see what the fans think.
Okay.
But
I vote yay.
I think they did. Okay, they might not have mythical powers, but they definitely have influence on the game.
I'm a superstitious man. I believe in luck, and mascots are a part of luck.
There you go.
I buy into that too. Actually, after you mentioned the whole Bebo thing, you were right. I knew
Yeah.
that was a sign.
As soon as you start talking about U of T, Simon starts to listen.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between what?
This dude said E. That's because of y'all, bro. Y'all make me like this. I can't control it. I just.
All right, so I know we're cutting all that
We're gonna
out.
keep this.
Anyway,
shit
All right.
rein it back
for the
in.
archives.
Rein it back in. Rein it back in, guys. Here we go. Okay.
So we've addressed that question.
Yeah.
We are all in favor of mascots
Okay.
influencing
Here's
the
the
game.
last question
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you about that then. What about obviously we all can agree that live living mascots have an effect. What about the other mascots?
I
Like the costume one.
Yeah, the costume mascots.
I don't think so. I think that they're. Never mind. I can't say that on the air. But anyways, they're just people,
Yeah.
you know, and
You
they're
ever-
just wearing a Halloween costume.
You ever played NCAA? Play mascot matchup?
Well, I'm aware of mascot mashup, but
Matchup? You mean matchup?
matchup. I said it right one of those times.
Same
We'll
thing.
keep that one. But I have played it, but it's just a fun mode. You know, it doesn't.
But they do backflips and front flips instead of juking. So just saying. Anyways,
That's true.
that is it for the question of the week. The poll will be on our social media. Chime in. We want to see what you guys think.
All right. Well,
I'm gonna vote yes because
that
I
was the
follow
thing.
us on social media.
All right.
me too. So follow us on social media. Our links will be down below.
Kind of made me yak in my mouth.
Yeah.
But they still won.
I'm picking Green Bay.
And
What?
Simon's pick is the Eagles, who are 1-2, and
my
they look
God.
like trash. But that's all right. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and Simon is near the bottom half of our pick'em league. So
Okay, here. No.
I'm about to head out.
Catch us on social media. Follow us. Check out our website too. We're posting a lot of cool things. Peace. Doodaloo, doodaloo. God, I'm gonna have to delete that here.
No,
Just
let the burp leave
Just
it out.
wait
dude.
5 seconds because I need to play that outro and then Jesse says his thing.
Wait, I'm not ready. I'm
What?
ready. What is it?
Well, he
Fireman.
gotta stop it.
Here, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Let-
Oh, you know, just
Why do we have to
making buckets and deep throat
Why
sandwiches.
do we have to
dude.
wait 10 seconds?
Okay. Just go whenever y'all are ready. It doesn't matter.
Just have that on there.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready. I have food in my mouth.
Jesse's
Come
not
on,
ready to talk
Jesse.
baseball because he has. I am Cody Stauffer, and I'm going to introduce the baseball segment for this episode of the Cycle 365 because Jesse is chewing food right now. Because he was running a little bit late today, so he had to hurry up and eat a meal.
Let's go around.
Is there another segment after this?
I don't know.
Well, if there's another segment after this, stay tuned. And if there's not, it's been the Cycle 365.
Well, that's fine. That works. Alright.
Frank Gore. He's having a good year again.
Well, no, just play both.
I think he had wasn't it 12 carries for 109 yards?
Yeah,
He did.
He went over 3,500 yards this week.
Wait.
15,000.
Sorry, 35,000 yards this week.
Wait.
15,000.
15,000. Okay.
35,000 rushing yards?
There was something on there.
It's
Anyway.
15,000.
There's probably a 3 somewhere in there.
Okay.
But yeah, Frank Gore, testament to him.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Broncos, that's coming up next. We're going to do a whole segment as requested by y'all on the Broncos and the state of this team and franchise coming up next.
I'm gonna kill myself. Download YouTube Red and see if they want to pay us. Because John Elway's ego is bigger than the Rocky freaking Mountains in Colorado.
It is. And I think
Because he thinks the entire city of Denver owes him their life because he won 2 Super Bowls at the end of his career when he didn't even do anything for that freaking team other than the helicopter. God, don't get me wrong. John Elway's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play, but he needs to get over it. That was 20 freaking years ago, John.
How good he is, as long as he's over 6'5", he's on the roster and he's playing.
And if he has an arm, oh boy, he's going to be on our roster. Yeah. One of John Elway's few good drunken quotes. This one's for Pat. Like, that gave me chills.
Wow.
Make sure to save. And then you should play.
There was like a string.
There you
Okay, go.
His brain had already been experiencing, not
Alzheimer's?
Yeah, but like,
I don't
what's
even
the
know what you're about to say.
no, what's the word I'm looking for? Signs of Alzheimer's. That's just the word signs.
Don't be laughing.
No, Alzheimer's is not funny. I'm laughing at my own.
You couldn't say signs.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
couldn't say signs. Do not misinterpret this. I love the Broncos. I love Pat Ballin. Don't question it. I have a football signed by him, and
so we'll see how.
I don't know if I should be relieved that someone's going to own the team,
know.
or if I should freak the frick out
Yeah, but
because John Elway's going to own the team.
It's okay.
Be like,
It's okay.
I own the Broncos.
Hold on. Get this.
Playing patty cake with Leonard Fournette all the way down the field, even though he could have made the play in the backfield.
Right.
But
And
it's fun.
Leonard Fournette is not a player to play patty cake with. The hustle. The lack
The
of
hustle was from any of the players that I didn't just name.
I guess I'd put him in comeback year of the.
Comeback player of the year.
So you trade Drew Lock probably for like a 7th round pick.
I was about to say
the 8th round
Wow.
pick. You know, you just get rid of him. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Cycle 365. This is episode 6. First, before we get on to our last segment right here. God, bro, I had. And you know he's I think he's a better passer. I think he has a better sense of the game. Oh, don't give me that look. See, here we go already. Hey, I can't counter, so I gotta say everything right here. And you know, I think he's a better player. Oh, and he's younger too. So there you go. No injury history.
Jesse,
You gotta go, Jesse.
I'm gonna take Luca.
Yeah!
why you gotta do me like
Luka
that? Rudy?
Magic. Let's go.
I'm just shooting in.
October 1st, 2019. Simon calls Luka Doncic the GOAT.
Well, he is. But anyways, that's it for episode 6 of The Cycle. Like I said, catch us on social media. Check out our website. That's it for now. Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
7 or 8.
Okay.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 7 of the Cycle 365. Currently today it is October 8th that we're recording, and we're going to talk about a bunch of sports.
Yeah, so our intramural team is actually trash. We are 0-3, and we have a game this weekend. This week, actually.
Yeah.
You excited to play it, Cody?
Yeah, I'm excited to play.
Okay, start over.
Why?
It's funny, right?
Yeah, it was funny.
So we're here to talk about sports, mostly football and baseball. Oh wait, shoot.
Yeah, they played like Browns, like a stain on pants. They really did.
Yeah. What did you say earlier today, Cody? Their offense struggled like our intramural team.
Yeah, their offense looked a lot like our intramural
Ooh,
team.
not good.
Very true. Their defense
Anyways.
looked like our intramural defense as well,
Oh.
which I run. But anyways, so
Wow, a self-roast. That's different. Hard to come by.
gotta take
Anyways.
accountability.
Kansas State.
I was gonna say sour cream and onion.
Okay.
Just want to tell you something hilarious. Our friend Zach bet on the Colts winning, and he won $600 yesterday.
That's true.
That's not funny. It just makes me sad.
Well, same.
Because I lost
but-
$150 at a casino over the weekend, and Zach's out here just throwing money out, and he just wins on sports betting. We haven't had
really?
a trade for a coach since John Gruden.
Well, see, Dan Snyder, he's dysfunctional
Right,
enough.
he's
You don't
a little
know.
off- he's a one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, he's a little crazy. He might be like, oh, Mike Tomlin, he has a Super Bowl. For every Super Bowl he has, I'll give you a first round pick. Well, I guess it'd only be one. For every Super Bowl appearance you have, I'll give you a first round pick.
Simon dreaming big as a Steelers fan this week.
It could happen. You know,
Marlon Humphreys choking Odell one week and then making Juju choke the next week.
pause. Okay.
Showing people out, dude.
Anyways,
Simon always tells me I talk really quiet, so I'm really close to the mic now so that you can definitely hear me.
All right, anyways, thank you for listening to the Cycle 365. This was episode 7. It was recorded on October 8th, just so y'all know. This is Simon Villanose.
Cody Stauffer.
And I'm Jesse Booten. And we want the Redskins. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to buy the Redskins.
Hashtag cycle for the Redskins.
Ooh, the Cycle 365 for the Redskins.
Oh, yeah. We still got to worry about trademark and stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyways.
we about to head out.
Check it.
No,
Come on,
that's
Cody.
it.
I'm going to keep it. That was going to be perfect.
No, you can cut out all the
Okay,
laughing. You
okay.
can see where the fucking starts.
Yeah, I know, it's your loud ass
Ain't
with a
fuck
fucking
you,
block
man.
of sound. Okay.
How you making your block of sound, Cody?
What were you
Oh,
going
well,
to...
you should say follow us on...
Here, you say it.
I don't know them. Go ahead.
Follow us.
Follow us.
Instagram.
Okay. Follow us on our social media and check out our website and our YouTube channel.
Yeah, don't follow us physically. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right.
All right, we better
Bye.
head out. Peace.
Bye.
Hey, welcome to... Shut the fuck up, you... Alright, cut that shit, you asshole. I'm fucking proud of yourself.
Go.
No, I can't do it.
Yeah, I will. Hey, I hope that covers protection too, because I'm about to go wild in Denver. Okay, maybe not wild.
Your opinion on the Mavericks is wrong. They're going to be last in the West.
Nope.
Just kidding, that's the Suns. Shout out to our boy Zachary Klein. That does it for this segment. We'll catch you on the next segment.
And play football. Yeah, they're acting like Philly fans. No, what I'm talking about. Philly
I
fans
know
be
what you're
doing the
talking about.
most. You be acting like Philly fans. Act professional
Doing
and
the
play
most.
football for once. You're not going to have another Super Bowl for another 100
Shout out
years.
to EDP445. Check out his YouTube channel. He has great Eagles content.
God, Eagles fans.
Hey, can we end with like a group high five over the mic? Let's try it. Let's.
Literally, we could all just high five and it was
No,
something.
let's just. Yeah.
Why'd we all miss?
Yes, we did
That's
miss.
the perfect
We
outro.
did miss the three-way high five.
Pause.
I shot changed my mind.
How?
So, we're testing?
Did
Yeah,
Alex
we're testing,
ever
we're
play with
testing.
the steel
I just
curtain?
saw
He played with the 49ers defense.
I just
That
saw
was
Jason
really good.
Garrett on the TV, and he was very wet. Because it's raining.
Dang it, we should have recorded
Josh,
that.
it's recording.
No, we are
Cody.
recording.
It's
Oh.
recording,
Yeah.
okay? Cody, it's because get your mind out of the yours. Because it's raining. It's raining in New England right now. Okay,
No, it's
that's
'cause
why he's wet.
sweating because his job security is not very solid.
No, it's
Kind
actually
of like
coming down.
Coach Collins.
He got
Well,
fired.
that's not solid. It's a liquid at this point
was
because it's not
liquidated.
there at
It's a
all.
liquid account.
All right, okay, I'm gonna have to. All right, we're gonna start this.
About like a football player, and they asked me to do Tom Brady, and I said no, I'm going to do a Danian Tomlinson. I'm like, you can't. I'm like,
Why?
why not? And they're like,
Wait, why'd they say why though?
well, we were up in the middle of the mountains, so people didn't really care that much. But they said because Tom Brady, like it was like you had to dress up as them and walk in and like give us a pro as they were. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Bro, Jesse, all you have to do is get a dark visor, bro. Daniel Tomlinson.
Yeah, just
I
wear
thought
a
it was still
helmet
Danian
and all.
Tomlinson. Anyways, and I also only have one jersey. I have one professional jersey, and it's not Danian Tomlinson.
Really?
Where do you hide that?
It's in my
Wait, no,
closet.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
It's in my
Yeah.
closet.
Is it the baby blue one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I used to have one
That's
just
fine.
like that.
It's the only jersey I have, Cody.
Jesse, I respect you as a person, but that makes me sick.
Why?
He's a closet Chargers fan.
Chargers are terrible. Why don't I like the Chargers? People ask me all the time, like, "Oh, are you a Chargers fan?" I'm like, no, I'm a Danian Tomlinson fan.
I'm gonna get you a LaDainian Tomlinson Jets jersey for Christmas.
Okay, and then I'm gonna get a Danian Thompson TCU jersey. They'll have all.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'd want an OT TCU jersey. That'd be-
LaDainian Tomlinson, if you're listening to this, I have 2 of your rookie cards, and I'd appreciate if you signed them though.
Didn't you just
Yeah.
say you hated the dude?
As a kid, is he gonna hold that against me?
Yep.
I don't know.
I heard he's a good dude just now.
But
Okay,
that's
so
great. We can all agree upon that LaDainian Tomlinson is who we'd start our franchise with and is the most versatile.
Like, you know, other SEC
Okay,
schools.
what's the elevation of Arkansas?
Negative
What?
2.
Wait, why does it matter?
Because it's harder to breathe here.
Oh,
And?
Are you serious? It's
Bro,
Simon said
okay,
it
but that
doesn't
has
matter if
nothing
you
to do
need
with the
breathe.
fans. That has nothing to do with the atmosphere, like the fans.
Yes, atmosphere and elevation go hand in hand.
Hey Siri,
I'm asking Siri on the podcast.
where is Murray State?
And the answer is
No answer.
I found one option. Murray State University on Murray Place Drive in Murray. Is that the one you're
in Murray. I didn't see that video. I literally watched that video last night.
Why'd you watch?
It was on
Why?
It was on TikTok.
It was like
From everyone here at the Cycle 365, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
And Black Friday.
a happy Black Friday.
What? Okay. I mean,
And then if you really want to go
It's
into the Happy
assumed.
Cyber Monday and a wonderful Giving Tuesday.
And a Merry Christmas!
all right. Let's
next
no,
time.
we're not.
Happy New Year!
All right.
2020.
We'll do that shit first.
Welcome back. It's been quite some time since you've heard all of us here.
No, Simon put something out.
Yeah, I did.
That's why I said all of us.
Oh, just my voice and your voice, Cody.
Yes, the other two. That's 2/3 of the cycle, as
Right.
we know it. Not as originally planned, but as we know it. But I'm Cody Stauffer,
I'm Simon Villanos.
And I'm Jesse Booten.
and
And you should probably do the normal intro.
The what?
The normal intro. Like, what episode is this?
Oof.
this
Dang.
is episode 16,
You got it, Cody.
recorded on January 14th.
2020.
Later
No,
watch.
and he's a little bowling ball.
Yeah.
He's like 5'9".
All right. I'm a Kellen Mond disbeliever, to be honest.
Doubter.
Or doubter. Yeah, I don't. He's not that good. Cody's not.
I'm nodding my head vigorously.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
If I had Bill
I don't
O'Brien,
know,
Ryan
man.
Day would be like Ryan Dawn, because that means that we might actually go somewhere.
Okay. Anyways,
Bill O'Brien is an idiot.
so he's not a good coach.
No!
We knew that.
We've
No,
known
we
that.
knew though. We know that.
We've been here for years. Okay, and the worst part is that he keeps going to the playoffs.
I know.
Because then people are like, "Oh, he's a good coach. Oh, he took the Brock Osweiler Texans to the playoffs." It doesn't matter.
Sean.
Well, it comes down to like, yeah, the yellow line is not the first down. Have you ever seen it when like the camera's moving? The yellow line's like,
Yeah,
it's mowed
exactly
all over
like
the
that.
field.
Pause. Exactly like that, though. Cody, why don't you do the Ed Orgeron voice and, see us out here?
Well, I'd just like to thank the fans for coming in and listening to the Cycle 365. And hope you enjoy the national championship and enjoy this conference championship and NFL playoff. Go Tigers!
And that's that. Go ahead and talk.
Hello, people of the world. Cody's been like that all morning.
Welcome to the 20th episode. Happy
Rounding into
anniversary.
shape. Rounding into shape. Jesse, you want to toss me my jacket? Sheesh!
Throughout the season, I've mentally been forming a list of players who I think are soft and who are probably never going to win anything significant unless they're on a super team, like Kevin Durant-esque, right? And
Preach.
And here's my list. It's not in any order because I think they're all trash anyways. But Joel Embiid, he's on that list. Ben Simmons, he's on that list. Cat, he's on that list. And here's what they all have in common. I think they're all soft. The fact that Jimmy Butler, first off, bullying isn't cool. I'm a teacher. I know how this works and all that. It's not cool. But the fact that stories came out that Jimmy Butler was bullying Cat was like, okay, well, see, they called it bullying, but it's the truth. He doesn't work hard. He barely gets better. He's not any stronger than he is when he was a rookie. And he's stat pads, and that's it. And he really doesn't play with that much intensity unless things are going really well for him. And I don't know if it's just a mental thing where he can't I don't know, he just can't do it consistently, or he feels like he needs to be hot, or he just shuts down. But I don't like that. And it's not D'Angelo Russell. I know he's a good player, but I don't think Cat is that great of a player, and I don't think that, D'Angelo Russell is going to make them that much better than Andrew Wiggins, if I'm being honest. I think the problem is Cat. I think he's just not that great of a player. And I don't see them making it to the second round of the playoffs at all. Ever. Like, I don't see them doing it ever, and I'll say that right now. I think he's soft. Like, every time I think about Cat, I think of that little meme of DeMarcus Cousins before he tore everything. Basically, brick walling him because Cat couldn't get through him because he's still weak and doesn't really go out and lift like he should. So, the San Diego Chargers.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Sorry, the Los Angeles... Gosh, man. I'm never going to
just
get
wait.
used to
There's
that.
another team that we're going to have to work on.
That's
On
true.
the same
Vegas
division.
Raiders.
Yeah. Jinx.
Yay.
Coming up next.
Damn it!
Y'all ready to start? What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Welcome back to the Cycle 365. I just realized I didn't say my name, but y'all probably already know it. I'm one of your co-hosts, Simon Villanos.
None of us said our names.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Cody Stauffer. Hey, we were calling each other by our names. That's an informal introduction.
Yeah, well, we're 50 minutes into the podcast, so if you didn't know our names by now, there you go.
Should have been listening to the other 19 episodes.
Yeah, that's true. Check them out if you have not. I'm trying to get a radical opinion out of y'all. I've seen it forever. At this point, how old am I? 21?
You just punched the computer.
I didn't mean to punch the computer.
Why
Well,
you
whatever.
punch the computer?
Well, it's out of frustration. Because at this point, I think this next season, or hold up, how old am I? I'm 21.
You're 21.
So either this next season or in 2 years, it'll mark officially, like, I've been watching Kyler Murray for almost 10 years straight. And
That sounds
Jesus.
weird when you say it out loud.
Yeah, like, I've been watching this dude for almost a decade, from middle school to high school to college to the pros. Or he could come to Pittsburgh.
Everyone can go to
Old
Pittsburgh.
cornerback, you.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
He could team up with Joe Hayden.
What if every single player in the NFL went to Pittsburgh?
I know.
Basically what it sounds
I
like
know.
every time we
Yeah, they might go 8-8 again.
I gotta say it, cause y'all never want anybody. So, I'd take Patrick Peterson still.
I'm
Cardinals
gonna put them third as well.
Okay.
And then the Rams at the bottom.
Of the division?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
that's
yeah.
what it
Never
means.
mind. That's right. I don't know why I was tripping. All right, so Seahawks first.
Seahawks win it.
Yeah, pretty much. Stephen A. Smith was very mad. Got a technical. He's probably gonna suit up next year. He says he will suit up next year. He says and drop 50. That's
Have you ever
his
seen
words.
that 2K tape
Not mine. Which one?
of the creative player, my player, of Stephen A. Smith?
Mhm. Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah. If we have the link to that, if we can find the link to that, we should definitely put that in the description.
Yeah, we
But
could find it. But,
If you don't find it, just edit this out. But anyways,
but yeah, Stephen A. Smith, he's gonna be the first player coach ever in All-Star Game history to play next year. Or
actually,
I don't
Kevin
know.
Hart was the first player coach.
Wait, was he?
Yeah,
When did he coach?
he was. It was the year after he said he was never gonna play again. He was coaching, and then he took off his suit and he started playing. It was a whole thing.
Okay, I forgot about that. He'll be the oldest player coach. There you go. All right, okay. Moving on, though.
But what we're really here for, what we're really here to talk about, is how Aaron Gordon, for the second time in his career, has gotten robbed of winning a dunk contest. Because on his final dunk, where he jumped over Taco Fall,
What, 7 foot
That's
one or
it.
something like that?
7'5", got a 47 out of 50.
But he didn't clear a Taco Fall.
Okay, he still jumped easily over 7 feet. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, he barely skimmed Taco, dude. He jumped over him. He jumped over Taco
His
Fall.
whole leg hits the back of his head. Like you could see his thigh pause, rub up against Taco Fall's
Why you
head.
gotta use the word rub? But anyway.
Well, it did happen because he didn't clear him. It happened, you know. Derek
That's still,
Jones
like,
would
that's
have.
still below the thigh. Like,
What do you mean it's below the thigh?
I mean, it
That
wasn't
just
like
means
his
he still
freaking
hits
torso or stomach hit Taco
him.
Fall.
Oh, yeah, if that
Like, he
happened,
still
then he
landed
would
the
have
jump
flipped over.
after Taco.
Bruh,
Like,
I'm like literally the only person who feels this way. I feel that it really wasn't that impressive. Because yeah, okay, cool. He jumped over Taco Fall, and like he's 7'5", but like first off, he didn't clear him. Second off, it's not like he was doing anything that complicated. He literally just grabbed the ball from him, raised it up above his head, like Aaron Gordon's head, and then dunked it, and that's it. No windmills, no 360s, none of that. It was just a straight jump.
7.5 foot tall man that he jumped over.
Derek Jones could have easily done that.
Well, if Derek Jones is more creative, which creativity is a part of the dunk contest.
He did a windmill dunk at the free throw line.
He didn't even take off from the free throw line.
Okay, so he was like 5 inches away from being at the free throw line.
No, he was like a whole foot, like a whole NBA foot, which is a lot more.
Bro, that is like basically the same thing as Aaron Gordon not clearing Taco Fall, though.
Oh my, no, it's not.
Yes, it is. How is it not?
Dude, oh my gosh, it's not creative.
If Derek
It's
Jones
not
could jump from
creative
the
at
free
all.
throw line, Derek Jones could probably have cleared Taco Fall.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
If
Repeat.
Derek Jones could jump from the free throw line, basically, you've seen him done it before, so there's that. But if he could do that, then he could jump over Taco Fall clean. Because I'm pretty sure Aaron Gordon can't jump from the free throw line.
No, Aaron Gordon is a vertical jumper. I feel like.
Bro, what do you
There's
mean?
a difference
It's
between
not-
distance and verticality. Are
Nah,
you serious?
dude.
I will
Okay,
say,
I don't know,
I will
Chief.
chime in here that if you can jump far, it means you can also jump high.
Yeah, because if you could jump far, here's how it works. I was in
Physics?
what was it? No, not physics. The other one, biomechanics. Yeah. So it's not gliding. Basically, you're just jumping up. It's a parabolic, thing like the U, right? And so, basically, how it works is that he's jumping high and he's just coming down, and that's what it is. Like when he jumps across the free throw line or jumps at the free throw line, and it looks like he's gliding. It's just showing how high he could jump, and then like it's just basically him falling from then on. So that's that. So if Aaron Gordon can't do that, and he couldn't clear Taco Fall, then that means Derek Jones definitely could have done that.
He didn't clear Taco Fall literally makes it sound like he didn't succeed at the dunk.
Well, he made the dunk, but you could still make the dunk without clearing somebody.
Okay, do you think that dunk was worth a 47?
Yes.
Out of it?
What, bro? People are only liking it because it's Taco Fall and he's a meme. He's 7'5", he barely has to jump anywhere, even though he's a basketball player. And like, I really do feel like it could literally have been like Boban Marjanovic and nobody would have cared.
No, I feel like even if he dunked over Boban, it would have been a 50.
Yeah, barely dunked over Boban, but that I'm just saying.
No, Aaron Gordon deserved to win the dunk contest. You will not change my mind on this.
Jesse, did you see the dunks?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Derek Jones did I want to put this out there. Derek Jones did a fantastic job. His dunks were all really solid. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest, if we're gonna compare the two and say that it should have been fair, they both probably should have got 50s because the judges were handing out 50s like crazy, like they do literally every year, and we should have got another round out of it.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
lots of controversy around
And
the dunk contest
And
this
if
year.
you don't remember from a couple years ago, Aaron Gordon should have won that dunk contest against Zach LaVine.
Well, I believe that one more than this one, though. Because this one was close to me. Like, at the end, I legitimately felt like it was close. Or, not close, it was far. Sorry, the last one was close, but this one was the one that I felt like Derek Jones definitely won.
Well, and if you look at the look at Derek Jones' face after Aaron Gordon dunks.
That doesn't mean
Derek
anything.
Jones' face said, "I just lost." And then if you look at his face after Aaron Gordon gets a 47, Derek Jones is shaking his head because he knows that Aaron Gordon should have got more than a 47.
Do you have video proof of this?
Yes, I do. You can watch it right now.
Okay, you know what? Let's see it.
After a brief break where we watched the dunk contest with Jesse, Jesse is here to tell us why he thinks I'm wrong.
So I'm going to side with Simon and say that Aaron Gordon should have lost by 1 point.
And he did.
And he did. Because in today's day and age, in an all-star game, for no matter what league it is, I'm looking for... Okay, when I say spectacular, yes, jumping over to Taco Fall is spectacular. But the excitement in dunking, like the windmill dunk from... I'm gonna say it's a 1.5 foot from inside the free throw line, but you can see
Aaron Gordon hung on to the rim too.
But
that's part of the excitement.
Aaron Gordon did not completely clear Taco Fall.
No.
Taco Fall's head got taken down by Aaron Gordon's body.
Yes, but whatever. When Luka takes over
It's
the league,
xenophobic for them to bench the 2 European players in the fourth quarter.
Well, when Luka takes over the league in like a year or two, he's gonna have Jokic out there instead of Anthony Davis and LeBron. So just you wait.
You're assuming Jokic isn't going to be the captain of the team.
All right, whatever. He'll keep Luka in, I assume, because that's how that works. Anyways, and that's what happened.
Then Anthony Davis missed the first free throw.
Yeah.
And I think he should have missed the second one on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, you want to win it, you know.
Yeah, they want to win, but like, I just feel like it's like kind of a boring way for the All-Star game to end on a free throw.
Well, if he missed it, then that means the other team would have literally just needed a 2 or 3 to win the game.
Yeah, they would have got the ball with exactly 1 play left.
No. Wait, what do you mean exactly 1 play left?
Or it would have went into...
No, there's no game clock.
No overtime.
So basically, Anthony Davis needed to make it if they're going to win because, let's be honest, Team US probably would have won if they would have taken the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2, with all that size,
you're
they
right.
have a lot of players that could get
That's why
a
they
team.
should have... They did the right thing, but like also it's just like, from a audience perspective, boring.
Maybe you could
From a
change
consumer
that.
standpoint.
Yeah, maybe you could push that for next season.
Just like in 21, sometimes people will say no free throws to win.
It has to end on a dunk.
That's what I was gonna say. Well, it doesn't have to end on a dunk, but you could say
yes.
You keep the same rules for next year. Just make it cannot end on a free throw.
The only way it can end is on a fadeaway pull. It's on a Kobe.
Hey, it'd be cool if it ended on a dunk. Imagine LeBron or anybody else trying to dunk on Embiid. It wouldn't be that hard, but you know.
Mavs. Did you guys lose to the Hawks?
No. Oh yeah, we did, but that's because we didn't have 3 of our starters. I don't know why we always take out Luka Hardaway and then a starting center like before every game versus the Hawks, and half the time we still beat them. So I don't know, but Luka's probably played maybe 1 game against the Hawks out of like 5. So, and it's like resting too. Like I know that his ass ain't actually hurt because then he's playing 2 days later. So.
And then, do you want to talk about Kobe White?
What about it?
He's put up like 3 or 4 consecutive 30-plus point games.
So on the 29th, I think is... No, wait. There's no 29th.
Yeah, there is.
There is?
Yeah,
right,
leap year, baby!
All right.
Be talking to my grandkids and be like, oh, I was there back when the Bears beat...
At the beginning of the Northern Colorado dynasty.
Yeah, I was there at the beginning when we beat some 5th seed team like...
UNC. That'd be dope because we can.
For betting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go to Vegas and bet on an XFL game.
Yeah.
You can't bet if you're a UNC employee.
You're right, you cannot.
Guess
Anyways.
cutting out high-level blue blood programs, I should say, like Kentucky, Duke, UNC. Sorry. They don't deserve that name. North Carolina. We're the UNC. We're the real UNC. They're trash this year.
They really are.
The Blues, bro.
Yeah, but
Wait, what?
They literally just won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And they're in the playoff
okay,
hunt right now.
But it's football, and St. Louis loves football.
Jesse said they love the Battlehawks more than the Blues.
Maybe.
No way.
Okay.
Sports this week. We'll come back next week with some more.
Oh, real quick, Cody said he'd rather watch spring training for baseball than the XFL.
I did not say that.
Yeah, you did.
I said I like spring training. It's important.
Boo. The XFL is much better. But anyways, let's wrap it up.
Alright, I am Simon Villanos.
I am Jesse Booten.
Cody Stoffer.
We'll catch y'all next time on episode 23. Northern Colorado's the real UNC. Bam.
I can't believe Brendan Silver's played the whole season hungover.
Yeah, probably. Something like that.
All right, let me paint this picture for our listeners. So me and Simon are sitting here watching the game, right, on the TV.
Yeah.
It's a pretty boring game. And Simon is exhausted. He was exhausted this last weekend. So I just see him dozing off every once in a while. I look over there and I'm like, oh, Simon's sleeping. The first time they showed the cup snake, he goes, wait, what is that? He sits up and he's like, what is this? I'm like, it actually got him excited. That's why it was literally the best part of this game.
It did, yeah.
Simon sat up and was interested in this cup snake.
Yeah, it was because the cup snake was less predictable than the coaching staff's play calling. Both of them.
Well, the New York Guardians might not have it.
I mean, not that a lot of people go to the games anyways, but it's still
so that could be
it's still New York.
Yeah,
it's a public gathering of less than 1,000 people because no one shows up.
Y'all could say something if you want.
Simon got them little girl moves.
Pause.
Oh, Jesse. Hey,
Pause.
Okay. That's y'all good?
Yep.
Alright, welcome back to the Cycle 365. This is episode 25.
Hey,
Yeah.
Simon,
What?
you know what's better than 24?
Alright.
25!
Yeah, and we are pre-recording this, or, whatever. Well, I guess we pre-record all our podcasts, but
Yeah.
it is March 13th, Friday the 13th, 2020.
And the world is falling apart.
There are no more sports to watch.
And, no, Le'Veon Bell's a joke.
Well,
Sam Darnold's a joke.
Robbie
Anderson's a joke.
Yeah.
The whole organization is a mess.
I would say
Adam Gase is a terrible.
Both Norths.
East.
That's that for the...
Both of the leasts, honestly. All of these teams are pretty bad.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Cycle 365. It is March 15th, 2020. I'm here with some special guests.
Gene Villanos.
I'm Joel, tallest brother.
My favorite sports memory would be back in Plano, Texas. Shout out Plano, Texas. Plano Sports Authority. It was during the playoffs that we had. We were the A seed and we were playing this really stacked team called the Running Rebels. And the Running Rebels always won. They always had the best record, but I still remember it to this day. There was 8 seconds left, elbow jumper to get us up by 1, and then somehow we got the ball back again. And the coach told me to run the ball out, but I was like, nah, I'm trying to get 2 more buckets. Came in and got fouled and then missed a couple free throws, but that was definitely my favorite sports memory ever.
All right. How old were you when this happened? I don't know if you said that or not.
I was probably 12 or 11 years old. I was a little chunkier back then, but yeah, I was definitely younger, and it was PSA in Plano.
All right.
I was playing at this middle school, Salem Middle School, shout out to them, and we was in the playoffs, so we had to beat this middle school called Holmes. And the thing was, I wasn't like that good of a player. I was probably like decent at best, but our 2 best players, we had a point guard and we had a small forward. They were injured, so it was up to me. I had to do the work, and I scored a career high 11 points. Got our team up.
Go on.
Got our team up. A few points. We were able to. One of my teammates knocked down the free throws, and there was a very important game to me in my very short-lived basketball career.
All right. Yeah. So we're a family of hoopers, except for me. I played football, but these two they carried on that basketball legacy for us. So speaking of basketball, we're all from Dallas here. We all grew up there.
I mean, we lived there for a good 15, 14-ish years. So we're going to talk some Mavericks basketball. And I know the season's over because of coronavirus. Or I shouldn't say it's over, but it's definitely... Okay, that's fair. Before we move into off-season moves, let's stick with this season. Assuming that, the playoffs do restart back up, they just skip the whole regular season, start with the playoffs. The Mavericks are at 7 right now. Right. So that means they would have to face off with the LA Clippers, Kawhi Leonard and them boys. Joel, you did say that you feel like the Mavericks could make it to the second round. Do you think the Mavericks could beat the LA Clippers?
No. That was before I knew that the Clippers were second seed.
Oh,
no, I don't think we could. Because even, I don't know our regular season record against them, but I think I've watched like 1 or 2 games, and it wasn't looking too hot.
We haven't been.
But I believe a lot in a change of scenery, a change of perspective, and to say and rule Mike McCarthy out before he's coached one Dallas Cowboy game is a bit absurd, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I like to be looking at stats.
Sure.
Facts. I don't ever go on a whim and say he's bad because this. I try to give excuses. If it's 8-8, obviously that's something that we have to reevaluate at the end of that season. But in my opinion, let's see how he does. Let's give him a chance, and if he sucks, we'll let him know.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Joel?
No, I mean, I agree. There's no point in really judging him. And I know he had Aaron Rodgers as a QB, so that is a big contribution to his championship. But nonetheless, I think we should still give him a chance. There's no reason to hate on him just yet, and we haven't seen one season happen.
And specifically for head coaches in the NFL, this is one of those things that they forget easily what you have done in the past. You could have a wonderful season. You could win a championship. But if you don't deliver in a big football town like Green Bay, it reverberates more so, in my opinion, because you are basically the decision maker of the team. So everything lies upon you. And I don't necessarily think it's all his fault or not his fault. It's just how it ended up. And I believe that with this new start, he'll definitely be... Gosh, you got to cut that.
I'm sorry. This is